Brandon, you're not fat. It's the shirt.
Look at Nate. His true classic is tight around the chest and shoulders and arms, and then it tapers off towards the bottom.
Nate also has sick. Okay. Welcome into the MPW Digital Postgame Show. I'm Neal McCready. Ole Miss wins tonight 5-1 in Omaha. Rebels advance to Monday night's winners bracket game against Arkansas. Stanford and Auburn will play on Monday afternoon, 1 o'clock. And the loser of that one head home. The winner of that one will wait for the loser of Ole Miss Arkansas on Tuesday. So Ole Miss did what it absolutely needed to do tonight. Dominant. Dylan DeLucia was terrific. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Ole Miss bullpen. Chase Parham will join in a little bit from Omaha. I'm sure he's doing some post-game stuff right now. Not really sure how that works. Usually the losing team does media first, and then the winning team goes after. Sometimes it's the opposite of that. But anyway, we'll find out in a little bit. Let me take care of some business here before I forget, because without these people, we're probably not doing a show. The College Corner, collegecornerstore.com. They're making this one happen tonight. We'll do one of these every postgame, win or lose with the Rebels, whether it's 3 games in Omaha, whether it's as many as 8 games in Omaha. We will have a postgame show for you each and every postgame, so another one coming to you on Monday night. But the College Corner, it's collegecornerstore.com. If you're in the Jackson area, they've got 2 locations, one in Ridgeland, one in Flowood. Go to collegecornerstore.com, though. This is the best thing you can do. If you want your Omaha gear, go to collegecornerstore.com, search for College World Series on the site, and the gear pops up. I know a lot of you took advantage of it after Ole Miss beat Southern Miss in the Super Regional. But there's lots of gear up, and in the event, and Ole Miss is playing like a championship team, in the event that there's a championship sometime in the next 11, I guess it was 8, 9, 10 days, something like that, they'll have gear up ready for you right away the moment that ends. So keep that website pinged and ready to go. Chase is in Omaha. He's there in large part because of the Clearwater Group. If you are ever in need of consulting, you're doing business with government, anything like that, you might need a little help, get in touch with our friends at the Clearwater Group. They're the primary sponsor of all of Chase's coverage from Omaha. You probably have figured out, if you know friends who are out there, and based on looking at the crowd, you do. It's pretty expensive in Omaha. It's an expensive trip. It's a little bit of a budget buster. So we had some help from the Clearwater Group. Also some help from Corinth Dental, corinthdental.com. They're a big part of the Oxford Exxon podcast every single day, stepped up and helped us a little bit extra. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick, kind enough to step up at Corinth Dental and help us. So if you're ever in need of, you're interested in Invisalign or other work, check out corinthdental.com and make sure that you let those people know how much you appreciate them helping us. Do me a favor in the thread, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just hit the subscribe button. We're super close to 5,000 YouTube subscribers at this point. So we're like, 150 short maybe. If you so hit the button, hit the like. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. All right. We'll take calls in a little bit on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. I'll put that number up in a minute. I'll take you through the box score. I've got it up. Ole Miss wins 5-1. Looking for some complete numbers here. Dylan DeLucia's the story. 7 2/3 innings tonight. Give up 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned. Did not walk anyone. Struck out 10. Faced 28 batters. He was absolutely terrific. Threw 114 pitches. 79 for strikes. By the way, kudos to the home plate umpire. I thought he was terrific tonight for both teams. I'm not sure he missed more than 1 call behind the plate. He was outstanding. Josh Mallets came in and cleaned up the rest of the way. Mallets goes 1 1/3. No hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, faced 3 batters, struck them all out. Threw 15 pitches, 9 for strikes. So he was terrific as well. The Ole Miss bullpen in the postseason has just been nails, and DeLucia was terrific tonight. So Ole Miss will be super rested for Arkansas on Monday. Offensively for Ole Miss, Justin Bench was 0 for 5 leading off. Jacob Gonzalez was 1 for 4. Tim Elko went 1 for 4. Kevin Graham had a huge night. 3 for 5, 2 runs scored, a run driven in. He's now hitting .339 for the season. Kemp Alderman had a big hit, 2 for 4, scored a run, 2 runs driven in. Calvin Harris was 2 for 4. Peyton Chatney was 1 for 4. T.J. McCants was 1 for 4 with an RBI. So a pretty balanced attack for Ole Miss. Kevin Graham had a double and a home run. He drove in 1. Alderman drove in 2. McCants drove in 1. So Chatney hit into a double play that scored the 5th run. So no RBI credited to him there because you don't get an RBI credit when you hit into a double play. For Auburn, Joseph Gonzalez took the loss. He started, went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, a walk, 7 strikeouts. Carson Skipper came in, did a really good job for Auburn, actually. Skipper did, kind of keeping it from getting ugly. Skipper goes the final 4. He gives up 4 hits, a run, it was earned, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Gonzalez threw 73 pitches, 48 for strikes. Skipper threw 50 pitches, 36 for strikes. He was really effective. But the story, Dylan DeLucia was just absolutely fantastic. So Ole Miss advances to Monday night. Again, they'll face Arkansas in the winner's bracket game on Monday night. The winner of that game, off until Wednesday, the winner of that game, just one at that point would be one win away from advancing to the championship series. The loser of the game Monday night would have to win on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So obviously the Monday night game, you don't want to say that it's the deciding game. Like whoever wins it is definitely getting to the championship series, but you'd sure bet on them at that point. So that'll be a really big game Monday night. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, I'll get to Chase in a bit. So let me get a couple of things. I'm trying to figure out trying to get to the hotline number. 662-259-0991 is the number. I'm going to get that for you in just a second. Got about 10 things going here, so just going to take me a second. All right, there it goes. All right. All right, phone lines are open, 662-259-0991. I think I'm ready for calls at this point. Let's see. The scores today, they're up there today. Arkansas beat Stanford 17-2, so that's how they advanced earlier in the day. Stanford and Arkansas was 1-1 in the 5th inning. Arkansas kind of blew it open, and Stanford sort of waved the white flag. At about 6-1, Stanford kind of made a decision from a coaching standpoint that they were going to kind of keep their powder dry and kind of use some seldomly used guys. Even though that's a pretty dynamic offensive team, I guess they figure they didn't have what it took to get past Connor Nolan today. So they sort of waved the white flag. Stanford has, if you told me a team was capable of getting out of the loser's bracket, I'd tell you maybe it's them, but man, it's super hard. You lose the first night. It's just so difficult to get to where you are trying to go. Charles, thanks very much for the super chat. Let's see. Yeah, Russell says Stanford sucks. They suck today. They were not good today at all. Yeah, I looked on the thread, by the way. Yeah, we can get Jeffrey. Jeffrey said he's available. If y'all want Jeffrey, I can get Jeffrey on to talk a little bit about what happened. He sent me a text a minute ago. All right, that's what we'll do. All right, I'm going to let him know that I'm calling him. We'll get him on, get his thoughts while we wait for Chase. Chase will probably be, I'd guess, 45 minutes. I'm going to get to FaceTime audio, and I'll get Jeffrey. All right, let's see. I'm going to take this call here. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, this is Ben in Omaha.
Hey, Ben, what's up, man?
I just want to talk about how much Dylan DeLucia shoved it. He balled out today.
Yeah, he was fantastic. What was the atmosphere like at the game?
I would say it was probably 75% Ole Miss, 25% Auburn.
Yeah, it sounded like that. It looked like it was a huge crowd. What time did they finally let you guys in? Was it like 20 minutes before the game they finally opened the gates?
40. Yeah, probably 40 minutes before.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't the cluster that it was last night.
No, we hung out at the bar that the Jello shots were at. Decided to go back to the car and then ended up going into the game probably 25, 30 minutes before. And, it was kind of fun. This is my first time in Omaha, and we had a great time.
How hot was it? It looked like fans were like just dying in the stands. Was it super hot?
So we came from Dallas, Texas, where it's been 110 degrees over the last 3 weeks. So it was a little bit cooler than that, but it was pretty hot. We got in the shade, so it wasn't that bad.
What's town like? Was it crazy? The bars and stuff.
Again?
What is the town like? Are the bars all crazy and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of Texas A&M fans, a lot of Arkansas fans, Ole Miss fans showed up. It was fun. It was a good time. First time in Omaha, and my dad and I, who's sitting in the car with me, we both had a good time.
Did y'all both get a Jello shot?
I got 4. I was trying to help Ole Miss get ahead, but so we walk in and Arkansas had 400 at the time. We walk out, they had 1,400.
Good.
So I don't think we're keeping up with them.
That's a ton of Jello shots. Was the Jello shot any
I don't
good?
know.
Was it any good? I'm not a big Jello shot person. It's probably been a minute since I've had a Jello shot.
They're pre-made, not good. I would not suggest them to anyone who's trying to have a good time.
How long are you staying? You there the whole time, or are you just there for the weekend?
Yeah, we're going to stay as long as Ole Miss keeps winning. If they lose, we'll go back to Dallas. If they keep winning, we'll stay here.
Well, that's awesome. I hope you and your dad have a lot of fun. Happy Father's Day to him.
We will. Thanks, Neal.
Thank you. All right, phone line is open, 662-259-0991. I'm trying to find that number so I can put it up because I know people are looking for it, and I've got about 10 things that I've lost here. There we go. I see it now. All right, I am going to try to get Jeffrey back real quick because for whatever reason, it didn't work a minute ago.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We sound like I'm actually using my soundboard here, so that's a good thing for us.
That is good. I guess we'll get your thoughts on the game. Obviously, Dylan DeLucia's the story. He was absolutely terrific.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think you can. I think you have to start and begin there because we talked about it on Wednesday about how Ole Miss's entire season turns around when they finally figured out what the pitching rotation was, and it began with DeLucia, and I don't remember what series was it. There was a series where they were still kind of juggling what their rotation was, and you pointed out, like, you can't sit here and say you don't have the Friday night guy anymore because DeLucia was clearly your Friday night guy, and we had my brother here who pitched at Ole Miss, and even he was saying, he's like, man, I don't know when this guy figured it out, but that's kind of where the season begins to turn around because he was dominant with the fastball. The breaking stuff was good early. And then the other thing that I've been really, really impressed with Ole Miss, and tonight I think was no exception, Neal, they're doing just such a really good job of controlling the game. Elko gets up, 2 outs in the first inning. They get a hit. Then you have Graham get up, hits the ball down the line. And you're sitting there thinking like, okay, well, are they going to strand the runners? Because you could tell Clement was wanting to send Elko, but at the same time, it's like, maybe don't lose this in the first inning, give momentum back to Auburn. And then Alderman just gets up and rips a big hit. And their ability to just kind of stay on schedule and stay in front, for the football terms, like stay in front of the chains, it's been so impressive this postseason.
Yeah, their approach at the plate, team-wide, is terrific right now. I mean, and they're getting offense up and down the lineup. If you went back, and I remember thinking this at the time, I thought the Kevin Graham injury was a big deal for them because he's not their best offensive player, obviously, but he's such a stabilizing force in the middle of that lineup. And when he came out of the lineup with the hand injury, I just felt like guys pressed. And when you press, sometimes that becomes kind of contagious up and down a lineup a little bit. Everybody starts to press, and before you know it, one bad weekend becomes 2 bad weekends, et cetera. You see it in the majors all the time. The difference is it's 162 games, and you've got more time to kind of slip out of it and it not impact you. A college season is kind of short. It's 60 games. It's the league season is just 10 weekends, and so you have 3 or 4 bad weekends in a row, and it can be sort of disastrous. But now Graham's back. He's back in the middle of the lineup. He protects Elko, and Gonzalez is hitting. Alderman's always a threat. If you make a mistake to him, he can crush it. I know McCants is not super healthy right now, but he has some at-bats that show rust, but he also has some at-bats where he's productive. And then Peyton Chatney's been terrific. They're just kind of getting a lot up and down the lineup. It stresses pitching, and they're really good. And then, but the deal with them right now, this is now 6. They're 6-0 in the postseason. The deal with them is that they're pitching so well. And when you pitch this well, it doesn't really matter. Everything looks sharp when, with the one exception of the game that Diamond started in the regional final against Arizona, their starting pitching has just been nails. And so you're in every game because you have, DeLucia gives up nothing. Hunter Elliott's been terrific. When you do that night in and night out, when the pitching's that good, everything looks good. And right now, this team just looks it looks like a championship team. I don't know about you. So far in the 4 games, you've seen this trend now. The 4 teams that kind of came into this the hottest with the most momentum all won. And now they're going to face each other on Sunday and Monday. And that Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Ole Miss, those are going to be mammoth games because all 4 of those teams right now are absolutely on fire.
Well, it was one of the things that my brother and I talked about, how, yes, everyone is super stoked for Notre Dame because of what they did last week and, killing the big bad villain. But if you look at Notre Dame and Ole Miss, Neal, there's a lot of similarities. Both teams, lost in a game 3 in a super regional last year. They both have a lot of guys coming back, and it was kind of, they finally figured out a way to get some momentum going. The other thing that I think has been huge about Ole Miss is, if you look at tonight, 4 of the 5 runs came with 2 outs. And to me, that's very, very emblematic and very representative of team that just does, you know what I mean? Like you and I have been on baseball teams where it feels like as soon as you get 2 outs, you might as well have 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like as soon as you get that second out, everyone just kind of dips their shoulders, dips their head. With Ole Miss, it really hasn't been that way. And I've just been super impressed with their ability for a program that consistently kind of gets labeled as this team gets tight. This team gets tight. Neal, this team right now doesn't get tight. And my brother also pointed this out, and I wanted to give a shout out to Mallets. I don't know when Mallets found this kind of slurve. It's almost like Ole Miss pitchers either have a slider or they have like this overhand curveball. He's got that pitch in between. And Neal, those Auburn hitters who are good hitters, they they were just fanning. And to me, like, that is a real weapon.
No, he's got real break on that pitch.
Yes.
And yeah, I want to say it was the hitter before DeShera, the backup second baseman. He was completely
Lord Farquaad?
Yeah, he was totally baffled by that pitch. And it broke. It looked like it was kind of like a 2 to 8 break. I mean,
yes,
virtually unhittable.
Well, and then they had this one nice camera shot, a slow motion. The biggest thing about breaking balls is look at how tight the spin is. You can see a pitch from behind that may look like it sweeps across, but he had that tight spin. Like, you couldn't see the big circle. You know, if you're in the batter's box or if you're catching, and you can see essentially like a quarter on the side of the baseball, like, that's not really a good breaking ball. He had a very, very tight one. And right now it's just, hey man, you're 9 innings away, as you said to start the show. You're 9 innings away from taking control of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think whoever wins that game Monday night, the way those two teams are playing right now, whoever wins that game Monday night, that's going to be really hard to beat them twice. Because listen, I mean, if you're Ole Miss right now and if you win on Monday, you could think at least, be a little bit of a gamble, but you could think about bringing DeLucia back on Wednesday. But you could certainly save him for Thursday in the event that you lost on Wednesday and had to play the, if necessary, regional game. You could bring DeLucia back on Thursday and feel awfully good about things.
Oh, and I think, in the end, hey, you turned to DeLucia tonight, and he gave you a big boy start. Don't you feel almost just as good sending Elliott out there on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, the way he's pitched, you could argue that he's been better than DeLucia, at least before tonight, going into in terms of the postseason. I'm curious to see what he looks like. In Omaha, I don't think he's going to get rattled. I don't think there's anything about him that gets rattled. The good thing for him is that he's pitched in some big games already, and he pitched against Arkansas earlier this season, and if I remember correctly, did really well.
Well, I think that there's a couple of similarities I felt like between DeLucia's start tonight, and DeLucia obviously has been great in the postseason too. But one thing that really stood out to me tonight, and it was what Elliott said after his start against Southern Miss. DeLucia, 114 pitches, 79 strikes.
Yeah.
Neal, that is filling up the zone.
Yeah, and I thought the umpire did a really good job tonight, but it's easy to umpire and you start getting calls when you're just pounding the zone the way that he did. I mean, he might have missed one or two or whatever, but I thought the guy behind the plate did a terrific job.
Did you notice at any point did the umpire stand out to you one way or the other?
No, and it didn't appear that either dugout was ever barking. I mean, I saw Thompson ask one time if it was low. I didn't see anything. I thought
they missed who fouled the ball off his foot.
Yeah, Gonzalez fouled the ball off his foot, and they missed that. And I guess that's not appealable. But in terms of just balls and strikes, I thought he did a really good job. But it's easy to get into that groove like that when DeLucia's just pounding the zone, and he was hitting corners. Dunhurst is a terrific catcher in terms of framing. I thought he was really good tonight. I thought he was really good tonight.
I thought he was great, and I also, how great was the tempo tonight? Both pitchers got the ball and just went to work. Like, that was just a delight to watch.
Yeah, it was a very pleasing game to watch. The Gonzalez kid didn't pitch particularly well, but Skipper was great. I mean, he kept Auburn in it. I mean, they could have easily gotten out of hand and become 8-9-0.
To your point of, hey, did Stanford wave the white flag a little early? If he doesn't come in and throw like he did, I think there's a chance Auburn might have waved the white flag.
Yeah, I think so. They would have had to at least think about it, and they probably. I mean, I'm sure Butch is probably kicking himself a little bit right now that Skipper pitched as much as he did. But they do get tomorrow off, so he'll be okay probably on Monday afternoon. But look, if you watched Arkansas today and you watched Ole Miss today, Auburn's not winning this regional. They're not as good as those two teams.
No,
Stanford's the one that has.
Stanford.
They'd have a shot.
Yeah, but there's also, I don't know, like I put some stock into this. How many times do you cover a team? I've never covered Alabama. You covered bad Alabama.
Yeah.
How many times do you cover a team and you come in expecting them to win like this? It's a very odd. My wife, by the way, the stat of the night is not Dylan DeLucia's line. The stat of the night is Aaliyah watched all 9 innings.
Didn't have to nervously leave the room or anything.
Nervously leave the room.
Yeah, no, they were. I mean, there was never a moment once Ole Miss got up 3-0 when Graham hit the home run. There was never a moment after that I thought the game was even remotely in doubt. I know Auburn I think in the 7th they sort of challenged a little. I mean, I guess that was kind of the
loaded them. I think they loaded them up. But then DeLucia got a big strikeout, and then maybe they got the run, but they did enough things.
No, they had 3 hits to open the inning, and so they had a run in and men on first and second, and nobody out, and he got 3 straight outs out of it. He was Mike came out and visited with him, and I thought Mike was going to take him out because Mike stood out there. They talked forever. I thought Mike was talking long enough to let Mallets get warm, and I thought he was waiting for the umpire to come out so that the umpire would come out and go, "Hey, we got a game to play here, fellas," and then I thought he'd make the move. And he didn't. He went back to the dugout, and DeLucia was just nails there in the 7th to finish them. And any chance Auburn had, but I didn't even think in that moment. I didn't really think Auburn had a chance. I mean, I guess if they'd hit a 3-run homer or something right there and made it 5-4, I would have changed my tune. But there was no part of me watching that thought, "Hey, Ole Miss is in trouble here." Just really none. I didn't think it was even interesting. They were that dominant, and I think, frankly, had they had to score more, I think they would have scored more.
I think that's a good point that you bring up. It felt like the only way Ole Miss was going to lose tonight was if something somebody would have had to make a miraculous play, or there had to been something go horribly awry. And the thing that just keeps impressing me about this team is, sometimes, Neal, think about some of those good Vanderbilt teams. Those Vanderbilt teams to me embody fake tough guy confidence, you know what I mean? Kind of it's oh, you're the guy that says you're the best because maybe that's a mental device that you use to convince yourself. I'm just so impressed that this team has a confidence about them, but it's not in your face. It doesn't feel forced. Am I being fair?
Yeah, because and I don't really know exactly where it came from because they didn't.
Exactly. It's like they have confidence. They have weird irrational confidence without being Swaggy P.
Yeah, I mean they lost 2 of the last 3 on the last weekend. They lost on Tuesday night in Hoover.
Thought their season was done. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm convinced that's what it is.
Exactly it. When you literally feel like you have a new lease on life, so therefore, nothing can kill you. You're already dead.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I just – and Mike sort of referenced that, I guess, on Thursday where he told him, you were given a second life. Make sure you don't have any regrets. No pressure. Just don't have any regrets. I mean, there's none of this, hey, we got to make sure that we're not satisfied to be here and all. They're not saying all that stuff. They're just kind of saying the way it is. Hey, we got a second chance. Just don't have regrets. Go play hard. Go do your thing. And they're just kind of, I don't know. They're just this very confident, but like you said, it's not cocky. It's not in your face. In fact, they're playing they're just kind of playing a very professional brand of baseball right now.
By the way, Deshara, that man is beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? I like him. I mean, he's having fun out there, and he's talking to people, and he seems like a really good kid. I watched this thing that was on the Auburn equivalent of
whatever the season
is. Yeah, and they had him mic'd up, and he seems like a great kid.
What do they call it? The Weagle?
I'm not even sure what they call it, but he did. He seems like a great kid. I mean, he's having a blast. Yeah.
that gut. First off, 263.
No, if he's 263, man, I finally got to 190.
I mean, if he's 263, I am 140, and I have been for the last 15 years.
Yeah, that guy's 3 spins.
He is beefy threes, but I will say this. What is it about? Because we've talked about this on my radio show. Like, we have a true appreciation of fat athletes. Why are they so endearing? Because they are.
Because we can relate to them better than we can relate to the guy that looks like a Greek god.
Yeah, I can't really relate to Jacob Gonzalez. Although, I mean, he let his legs like, oh, I can do that.
You know, like Serge Ibaka walks into a room, you're like, I'm never going to look like that. I mean, there's no chance in hell. But, you know, Sonny DeShera walks in and he hits. You're like, yeah, I could get there.
I got him.
What's your quick thoughts before we let you go? What's your quick thoughts on Monday night?
I mean, without being too redundant, doesn't feel like those two teams are about as evenly matched as you can be. We've already seen what this series like Fayetteville. I feel like if you're going to tell me what's it going to come down to, show me 2 out hitting or show me runners left on base, because I feel like the team that makes the most of their opportunities is probably going to win, because I feel like those two teams are pretty darn similar.
The one thing I like about Ole Miss on Monday night, the two teams are really similar. If you look at it, Arkansas, the last weekend of the season, they went 1-2 at Alabama. They went to Hoover and went 0-2, and he gave them some time off. And I think they thought, well, what? And then I don't know where.
There was the idea that if they would have played better in Hoover, that they would have hosted. Instead, they went on the road, and it felt like from Van Horn's comments, it felt like he was kind of okay with them going on the road.
Yeah, their fans had kind of started to turn on them a little bit, and it had become sort of caustic. Some of the kids pushing back on social media and stuff. And
they had that weird radio thing with the catcher and the radio guy. Like that was bizarre to me.
But what I was saying is, what I like about Ole Miss is the Ole Miss end of that matchup on Monday night is that obviously Connor Nolan's been terrific for Arkansas in the postseason, but he's not going to go on Monday. He went today, and he was terrific against Stanford. I don't know where they go for that second pitcher. They've been going to Will McIntyre in the NCAA tournament, and he's been good, but he hasn't been Hunter Elliott good. Now, their bullpen's got a lot of – obviously, their bullpen's super fresh after several days, and they really didn't have to do much from a stress standpoint today any more than Ole Miss did. But I like Elliott over McIntyre. If it's Elliott against what's the kid's name? Hayden Smith, the left-hander, the freshman, who's eventually going to be a really good pitcher in the league and is pretty good now. But I still like Elliott more than that guy. I just think that's Ole Miss's advantage, and I think it's a big advantage. It's the reason why I think I'm kind of picking Ole Miss to win that game. Both teams are hot. Both teams are getting offense up and down the lineup. Both teams are having just game after game after game of quality at-bat after quality at-bat. But that's what Ole Miss has. Ole Miss can throw Elliott, and if he does his thing, I think they have a market advantage. I kind of think Ole Miss is going to win that game on Monday night.
The best thing I've heard this postseason, and sometimes guys can figure it out, probably particularly a guy like Hunter Elliott, who, he played high school baseball last year. I got to assume almost everything Hunter threw was an out pitch. I loved what he said post-game against Southern when he took notice of, he's like, hey, man, I looked at how many times I got above 2-2 counts, and I think it clicked with him. My stuff's good enough. If I get it in the zone, they're going to have a tough time hitting me. And to me, like, that's kind of a light bulb moment for a lot of pitchers when you realize, like, hey, everything doesn't have to be a strikeout. Like, if I fill up the zone, a lot of times guys will get themselves out. And so, and part of that also has to deal with maybe he had a good bullpen session. He felt good. He felt like he had good command. You don't go out there and every single time and feel like you have complete command of the zone. But I did think that was a big moment for him because it was a big start. It was positive reinforcement, and I think that's a big deal. And also, I mean, I don't know. Like, I get it. Some of this is matchup dependent, but can we really ignore the fact that there's only one team in this tournament that hadn't lost?
No, I don't think you can at this point.
And, I mean, again, does not
Has
mean
Oklahoma lost?
And every size their ring fingers up, but I don't know. Like, this team just has this weird, it was like betting on the Warriors in 2016. Like, you just laid the number and you didn't really care. Like, okay, well, they'll take care of it.
Yeah, no, they look the part right now. Hey, really appreciate the time very much. Appreciate it
All right,
more than you know. Thanks. That was Jeffrey Wright. Always appreciate him doing that. He didn't have to give up 20 minutes of his time here on a Saturday night. All right, I'm going to open the phone lines back up. Still waiting for Chase. These post-game things sometimes take a little while. They often take a long while, actually. So I'm going to 662-259-0991. I'm going to find that number and put it up. There it is. And here we go. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, this is Sean from Madison.
Hey, Sean, what's up?
Hey, Neal, I was just wondering, when we talk about Tim Hudson and Auburn Tigers, I believe whenever we played them earlier in the season that they were allowing their catcher and pitcher to call the pitches during the game, and it seemed like during the game today that Tim Hudson was calling all those pitches. Just wonder what your thoughts on that are, or if anywhere in the right ballpark with that.
I can't remember from earlier in the year, if I'm completely honest, but yeah, Hudson was definitely calling the pitches today. And I thought they called a good game. Like, even in the early part of the game when Ole Miss got some hits on Gonzalez, I didn't think some of the pitches were particularly bad. I just thought Ole Miss's approach at the plate was really good.
And it has been. I mean, it's been great since we got into it. It really has. Also, I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, we went through two pitchers tonight, and with what we have left, I mean, Nichols, Hunter Elliott, Brandon Johnson, Jack Doherty, John Gaddis, and, I mean, possibly, Jack Washburn. I mean, things are looking good. They really are.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, if you're the winner of the Ole Miss Arkansas game on Monday night, you're loving life. I mean, you got one hell of a shot at that point. I mean, whoever wins that game has one hell of a shot. And again, I like Ole Miss's chances just because I think they're going to have the advantage in the starting pitching matchup. Both teams are playing tremendous baseball since the postseason started, but that's the difference for Ole Miss is the two super starters. A lot of teams have one. They've got two. And if Ole Miss can take care of business on Monday, I think they're playing in the championship series. I really do.
I mean, and to even think in the game three, I mean, to maybe throw out a McDaniel. Well, I know we're not going to go diamond. I believe I heard that from Mike Bianco that there was a little hesitance on using diamond in the game three. But even with McDaniel, Parental hasn't been using well. I don't know if he's hurt or what, or Kimbrel or. I mean, Derek Diamond, I mean, I'd love to see when he's going to be used. I'd hate to get into a shootout, like with what we saw, I guess, earlier today when they used 6 pitchers in the earlier game. If we get into a shootout, it could get nasty, but I believe we have the pitchers that can at least get some outs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see what Diamond can do. I can't wait to see what McDaniel's going to do. We haven't seen him in almost a month now. I mean, we get into 7 games in 8 days if we lose tomorrow or if we would have lost tonight, and it could get serious with the pen, and I believe we have the pen that can back it up. I mean, we haven't seen Chofie in a while. We haven't seen, I don't know what's up with Wes Burton, but, I mean, he could at least he wasn't bad this season. I mean, he got, I think, 5 strikeouts in his maybe 3 appearances, whatever. We haven't seen Washburn in a while. We haven't seen Kimber in a while. It's in McDaniel in a while. It's in Diamond in a while. Parental. I mean, there's just so much possibility with the bullpen. It's honestly ridiculous. I mean, Brandon Johnson getting a bye week last week. I mean, I don't know if he needed it. Maybe I don't know how it works with pitchers when it comes to bye weeks. But
well,
I mean,
they just didn't need him.
gracious.
They didn't need him, so they didn't use him. They had blowout wins.
Great. I mean, I love four
Yeah.
pitchers over 2 games. I mean, goodness gracious, we got 2 freaking pitchers going tonight. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hey, Sean,
Honestly,
thanks for the call. I'm going to get to Chase here in a second. Thanks.
all right, brother.
All right, thanks to Sean for the call. Chase is texting me. Yes, I'm going to get Chase on FaceTime audio here, and we'll get him from Omaha. So hang tight 1 second as I get him dialed up.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Chase. From Omaha, Chase Parham joins. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Pretty raucous, energized, happy Ole Miss group here as they knock off Auburn 5-1. Just a press conference about, 10, 15 minutes ago, something like that. And they're on to Monday, which is, I know it's Oklahoma State that's Bedlam, but this place is a zoo. The 2 biggest crowds today by far, Ole Miss and Arkansas. You've got the Jello shot competition going that I think Arkansas is about to break on day 2 from Mississippi State's record a year ago. So, yeah, Monday night setting up to be pure chaos, but for tonight, it was domination. Ole Miss, Dylan DeLucia, 7.2 innings, strikes out 10, doesn't walk anybody. He's just been nailed since he was put in the rotation. He was huge tonight. They get some 2-out hits. They make Joseph Gonzalez work with that sinker, especially the left-handers. They were on it. Right-handers hit it when it got elevated. It was kind of near perfection for Ole Miss tonight as they continue to be rolling. They are the only team that's undefeated in the NCAA tournament. They're 6-0 now. And, really, frankly, biggest game in program history on Monday is they've only won game 1 in Omaha one time ever. That was in 1956 when they beat New Hampshire. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Monday will be bigger than that. And, they're just rolling. It's 51-12 now, what they have outscored opponents in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's remarkable the run that they're on. It's just remarkable. I mean, there was there was no reason at all for anyone to think that this team was going to, once they got into the tournament, not just win, but just beat the hell out of people, dominate. It's kind of stunning, frankly.
Yeah, Aaron Fitt from D1 Baseball has been messing with me for the last 3 or 4 hours. Everybody walks by me. He's like, "Hey, I hope you pack for 2 weeks here." He obviously had picked Ole Miss to win the national title in their D1 picks. He's likened Ole Miss to that 2015 Virginia team that got in as a 3 seed, got red hot, and ended up beating Vanderbilt for the title. Long way to go for that. But, look, I was talking to Nick Suss as I was walking down the steps toward the press conference. They're playing as well as anyone in the country. I understand that in some ways Arkansas was more impressive in what they did over Stanford today, just hammering the Cardinal. But as far as complete all sides, the way it kind of went about it, I think it's an easy case to say that from a who's playing the best, from who's the hottest, Ole Miss is arguably the team that is doing that headed into a Monday night. They kind of have all systems together. And I wrote about it this morning. It's not a bunch that is just kind of happy to be here. It's not about being the last team in the tournament. It's a team that's pretty damn talented. They were a top 5 team going into the season. They figured out the pitching. They're going to hand the ball to Hunter Elliott on Monday. They're going to have the pitching advantage, even though Arkansas was not named a starter that I have seen for Monday night. It's a really talented, a really complete team that believes in itself, and frankly, they look like what we thought they might look like when the season started.
Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, look, Arkansas can go to McIntyre. They can go to Smith, the left-hander.
It's likely McIntyre.
Yeah, it's probably McIntyre, and he's pitched well in the postseason, but he hasn't pitched like Hunter Elliott. That's to me, that's the advantage for Ole Miss is that they've got. I mean, it's the one advantage. I mean, both teams are hitting the ball up and down the lineup. Arkansas, obviously, you saw that today. They scored 17 runs, for goodness sake. They're getting production really 1 through 8. They have kind of a dead spot at number 9, but even he was productive today. But they're getting production all over.
Yeah, all 9 starters for Arkansas had multiple hits today.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously hitting the ball well. Stovall is hitting for them. Battles is hitting for them. Robert Moore is starting to hit like he hit last year for them. Their lineup is really impressive. They've got an elite offensive. An elite defensive infield. They're very good on the infield. What they don't have is that second starter. Connor Nolan has emerged for them as a true ace. He was terrific today against Stanford, but they don't have that number 2 guy, and Ole Miss does. And to me, that's the difference.
No, I mean, you look at what Hunter Elliott did last week in Hattiesburg. He's a guy that even coming into the postseason, from a ceiling standpoint, the way he's been pitching, the way he shows so much composure as a freshman, you thought that Ole Miss might have the best number 2 in this thing, because when you look around, you and I have talked about this all season, there's tons of offensive guys. The ball, I don't care what anybody says, the ball is juiced to some extent. There's a lot of offense. There's a lot of older hitters like Tim Oko in this country. But from a pure pitcher standpoint, the pitchers still went in the draft. Those top guys still went. They've moved through the system. You look up, and there's not just a wealth of number 2 starters. What Elliott's done, the ceiling that he gives you, he absolutely could go out and win that game on Monday. He is the difference if Ole Miss does win that game on Monday. It's going to be a tough environment. It's going to be a hard game, obviously. As you said, Arkansas has kind of found itself. It's probably – look, injuries happen and whatnot, but Peyton Pallette would change that team. It would make it probably the best team in the country at this point. So the way they've rebounded has been pretty impressive under Dave Van Horn. But this is just a one-game situation to get into a really big catbird seat, to go 2-0, to get the off day on Tuesday, to play on Wednesday and have to lose twice. And I don't care, whoever Arkansas throws, like you said, it's probably, or as I said, it's probably McIntyre. That's what it looks like, sophomore right-hander. But I would rather have Elliott if I was one of the two, and you got to think Ole Miss feels pretty good about it as they go into that game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You talked about atmosphere. What was it like today? I know you were at both games.
Arkansas, it's hard when we first got here to see exactly what the split was, because Arkansas and Stanford have such similar colors that you just knew there was lots of crimson or red or whatever that is. But as the game started unfolding, you realized that it was 75-80% Arkansas. They dwarfed Stanford, and it was even more than I kind of thought. Going into tonight, I knew Ole Miss would have the bigger crowd, but I kind of thought 60-40. It was more like 80-20. That was a complete home game for Ole Miss tonight. They dominated from a crowd standpoint. It filled in. I think the crowd ended up being 25,000, something like that. There weren't many empty seats. And because of Ole Miss getting the 2 out hits early, getting after Gonzalez, it sort of erupted. And the way DeLucia was throwing, other than a little bit of a tense moment there in the 7th, it stayed loud the entire time. And I know people could hear it on TV. They talked about that. But it was, the College World Series, it feels like a bowl game, but it's somebody on the message board, and they're right. It's not an exhibition. It feels like that kind of atmosphere. Everybody's having a party, and everybody's having a big time, and the drinks and the food and whatnot. But you're playing a tournament for a national title. So it's almost like a college football playoff, except with 8 teams hanging around. And Ole Miss, they brought a ton of people. They'll bring more for Monday night. Auburn did not. I think Auburn's probably had the 3rd smallest crowd out of the 8 teams so far. And they just never really had anything to cheer about because of DeLucia, because of Mallets, because of what that offense did. It was dead throughout on that side of the field, and Ole Miss just kind of took over once they filled in the second inning. The only thing that Omaha doesn't do very well is getting people in and out of the stadium. So it takes an inning, 2 innings to really fill in all the way. But once they did that, it was kind of Swayze Midwest a little bit tonight.
So it sounds like everybody from Oxford is there. I'm sure everybody from all over Mississippi is there. I know you were sitting next to a reporter from Dubuque. How did that go?
He didn't show up. He should have picked night tonight to show up of all things, because Calvin Harris went 2 for 4. I assume that he tried to get a story on Calvin Harris at some point this week, because he is from West Dubuque High School and from Dubuque, Iowa. So I was excited. I got up there and I looked at the sheet, and I had Rick Cleveland on one side, and I had a guy from Dubuque, and I said, you know what, it's going to be an all right day.
Yeah.
The Dubuque guy no-showed on me. I swear to God, though, if he shows up Monday, if we get it, we'll ask him to be on the podcast. We'll try to set that up for the week. But he was not in attendance.
Yeah, because
Calvin had a good day and he missed it.
Well, we've always wanted to talk to somebody from Dubuque, and this is our big opportunity. How many Jello shots have you had?
I'm not a big Jello shot guy. You know what? I mean, I think that whether it's me or somebody else, I know another reporter said they might head over there tomorrow and do a story on the Jello shots. I'll tell you what I am, and you'll appreciate this as an entrepreneur and a capitalist. It is a brilliant idea, because you're getting 8 fan bases that are all in a really good mood, competing against one another, buying Jello shots that are like $4.50 a piece.
$4.50 a Jello shot, yeah.
They can't have more than $1 in each one of them, maybe, probably less.
Oh, less than that. They don't. It's like 30 cents.
$4.50 a piece, and making them compete. I mean, it is brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'd love to know how they count them, though. Because if they're selling that many Jello shots, how do you get anything resembling an accurate count? Well, I mean, you're constantly moving the scoreboard, though, Neal. If somebody orders 10, you're going, okay, well, what team are they going for? And you go over the board, and you mark it off. Everybody else is in there cheering.
I mean, you're setting up almost like you're setting a live competition up as you're taking everybody's money and completely swindling them out of cash as you give them the strawberry jello.
Oh, I admire the hell out of the capitalistic part of it. I mean, it's genius.
Oh, I'm telling you, it is the most genius thing going on in Omaha this week.
Randall says it was $4 last year, so inflation is everything goes up except the rival subscription. That's the way.
I think
Life works.
There's like a $20 minimum too. I don't know. I'll go over there tomorrow and at least get the score on exactly how this thing's working.
What do you think about the games tomorrow? By the way,
I mean, I'm excited for Texas A&M just because, right? I mean, it's a losers bracket game, so it takes some of the wind out of it. But that's fun. I'll tell you, when you mention going into this tournament, who's just playing hot, and look, everybody's obviously won a regional and super regional, so nobody's playing poorly.
Right.
But if you looked at the Ole Miss side, Arkansas and Ole Miss were by far playing the hottest of those four teams. And you look at the other side, Notre Dame goes into Knoxville, they knock off Tennessee, and then Oklahoma's been red hot for basically a month. I'm really excited about Notre Dame, Oklahoma tomorrow. You know, neither one of them got a ton of stars. Oklahoma's got the shortstop that's good, and they've got some guys, but it's a lot of just really gritty baseball players. I think that game is a ton of fun. I think it's close. I think they score a lot of runs. I think they get after those number two starters. So I think you get the Lone Star State, the Texas A&M thing in the morning or at 1 o'clock, and then I think you're set up for a really quality, good baseball game. You know, you look at these four games so far. Not only has the lower seeded team won all four games, the lower seeded team has not trailed yet in the College World Series.
Yeah, there's yet to be a lead change. Isn't that
the
crazy?
The lesser seeded team has jumped ahead and led throughout all four games.
Yeah,
and Ole Miss will be the visitor on Monday. They lost a coin toss.
Oh, it was a coin toss. Okay, yeah,
it was a coin toss.
The first inning of the Arkansas-Stanford game was the closest we've come to a lead change. Arkansas got a run in the top of the first. Stanford answered with a home run to lead off the bottom of the first, and that's it. Everything else has been whoever gets ahead, they just go run away with it.
I tell you, mixing those two topics a little bit, what's funny to me is that when you look at that board of the Arkansas Jello shots and the Ole Miss Jello shots and all that, Texas had like less than 100. It's almost like, hey, they're not in the SEC yet. They're not going to play these games. They're trying to stay above it. They said, you know what, we're not jumping into the fray. 5 years from now, they'll be jumping into the fray once they get into the league. It just is what it is. But you know, look, it's a Texas team that's here a lot. They lose the opener. I wouldn't even be surprised if a lot of their fans left. I expect a more A&M people than Texas people here tomorrow.
Speaking of A&M people, Avery wants to know if you've seen your buddy Ross.
Not seen Ross. Keith sat behind me in the press conference a minute ago, and Greg Sankey was eating some popcorn when I was in the press box earlier. But that's the only administration members that I have seen at this point. So no, I'm sure he was here. Sure he was in a box somewhere, but I have not seen Mr. Giggle yet. Anybody say anything interesting in the post game? Not really. You know, players, that's a weird environment because it's the deal where you're all, you know, you're having to announce your affiliation every time. There's no kind of continuity with just having a conversation. It's very, very, very formal, and you have to repeat your affiliation every time you ask a question, and it's not a good environment for the players to elaborate. You know, Mike talked about having all of his family here except for his oldest son, Michael Jr., and he talked about Mallets. He talked about Dylan DeLucia. He just, you know, hit the high points, but nothing that was overly interesting. You know, we haven't mentioned him a lot because of what DeLucia did today, but Josh Mallets is on a heater. He since May 11th against Southern Miss, he struck out 24, walked 1, and hasn't allowed an earned run, and it's almost all been sliders. You know, Mallets a couple of weeks ago in an interview, he compared himself to Kevin Cobbs, and we all kind of laughed. But I'll be honest, right now that's what it is. I mean, it is slider heavy. Nobody can hit it. He throws it for strikes against right-handers. He throws it for wipeout pitch strikeouts against left-handers. And it has become a crazy weapon. We were walking out of the press conference tonight, and Mike was just kind of standing there, and I walked over to him, and I said, is it Scott Biddle? Or, I mean, are we at that point yet? And he kind of laughed, and he started to shake his head no, and he kind of did shake his head no, and he goes, but I'll tell you, the last 3 weeks, it kind of is. And I think
where did it
right.
come from?
It's the closest thing to Scott Biddle right now.
Where did that pitch come from? Because he's been good all year, but he wasn't throwing that back in April.
They moved some thumb position. They've sharpened it up. He was a guy. You know, this happens a ton, and it's something we've talked about. It's happened with a lot of Ole Miss pitchers because a lot of high school guys throw curveballs. They throw kind of these big loopy curveballs, and I think that there's been some criticism because it doesn't always work. I think sometimes you just need to figure out what the guy does. It's kind of like a golfer where You don't teach them all to hit a draw. You figure out what's best for them, and you make it happen. But with Mallets, he's sharpened that thing up. He's learned to control it. And frankly, mentally, he has trusted it. It's taken him so long to kind of know, I know where it's going to go. I can trust it. I can just throw it. I don't have to worry about it, because I really admired him, maybe in the same interview when he talked about being Kevin Kopps a little bit, is that he admitted that in the past he's let the atmosphere bother him. The bullets have started flying, and that's been a problem for him, and that he's really had to calm down. And I made a clear the mechanism joke from full over the game, because that's sort of what he's done. He's had to find a way to block out all the noise, just kind of concentrate on it. And it sharpened up his game in all ways. He's a guy that would get overly amped. He would kind of lose control. He'd fly open with his mechanics. And instead now he sort of just focuses on Dunhurst mid, as crazy as that is. It's a real tunnel vision thing for Mallets. And it's changed his whole game, because when you're nervous and you're freaked out, you don't perform very well. And he's found a way to kind of fix that.
What you got planned for tomorrow? Are you going to go find a steakhouse, or are you going to find you a bonefish grill? What's the plan?
Well, there's practice at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I will be at Creighton University about 9:45 in the a.m. to have some interviews, to hang out there for a little while before practice. I highly doubt they do much work at all, right? That'll be a quick infield, outfield, and a little hitting and getting the hell out of there. I do not expect much from Ole Miss from that standpoint. I want to go downtown, staying about 10 miles out, not far. It's fine, 15 minutes from the park, but I want to go downtown. I want to kind of see the atmosphere. Like I said, I'll run by that bar and just kind of see what's going on in there. Maybe grab a couple souvenirs. I'm going to do that on the only guaranteed off day that there is. And yeah, tomorrow night there's time to, kind of chill out, get a little better meal and hang out for a little while. I think Brian and I are going to record a podcast tomorrow afternoon. I'm pinch hitting for Colin on that, so it'll be up at some point, probably late afternoon tomorrow as well on the network.
All right. Well, I know you and I will touch base at sometime tomorrow, figure out what our plan is. I assume we're doing a Monday morning podcast since they don't play till 6, right?
Yeah, there'd be no reason not to, since it is a night game, and it will start sometime around there, because they're doing there's 5 hours between games, obviously, and they're doing 65 minutes between games, so no problem there. Yeah, they'll have practice tomorrow, and then they'll play Monday. If they win on Monday, again, they will play Wednesday. They get Tuesday off, and then the if necessary game is on Thursday. If they lose on Monday, they will play on Tuesday. After tomorrow, once they lose, they play every day.
All right. Appreciate the time. Again, thanks to the Clearwater Group. Also, thanks to Corinth Dental for making it a lot easier on us to get Chase out to Omaha. So we'll look forward to – I know we've already got content up on the site, right?
Yeah, there is a Dylan DeLucia story up right now, and then we'll have some an early look at Arkansas and some other stuff up here in a little bit.
All that's at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by the Clearwater Group, by Corinth Dental. So, Chase, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk soon.
That was Chase Parham. So I will open up the phone lines now and take your calls for as long as you guys want to talk. There's the number, 662-259-0991. I know several of you were trying to call. We got several missed calls from earlier in the hour. So phone lines are open now, and I'll talk to you for as long as you'd like. Again, Ole Miss and Arkansas Monday at 6. Should be one hell of an interesting game. Hey, who's this?
This is Will.
Hey, Will, what's up?
Not much. I just want to know, when would you go back to DeLucia? And then secondly, how did they not know that ball hit Gonzalez? The foul ball?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I mean, it meant nothing, but still.
Yeah, I just don't think he heard it. I don't think the umpire saw it or heard it, and I guess it's none of them saw it, and you can't. Apparently, it's not appealable. And as for when you can go to DeLucia again, I mean, you could go as early as Wednesday, but I would think that you probably would prefer to wait till Thursday, and certainly you're hoping that you get through the week clean and you can go to him on Saturday to start game 1 of a championship series.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And what time would they play on Tuesday if they lost on Monday? Do you know that?
I'm not sure because there would be 2 elimination games on Tuesday. So whoever wins the game Monday between Stanford and Auburn would play the loser of the Arkansas Ole Miss game on Tuesday, and so you'd get the same thing on the other side of the bracket as well. So I don't know which one would go first.
No, because I'm confused on that too. Yeah, but I'm just confused on that.
Yeah. Bottom line is, if you win on Monday night, you really don't have to worry about it. If you win on Monday night, you don't play till Wednesday.
How confident are you on Monday?
I'd bet on Ole Miss. Would I feel?
That Arkansas lineup can hit.
Yeah, no. Look, Arkansas. Look. Here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. There's 4 teams in this thing right now that are red hot, that are all playing really good baseball. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. They all won regionals. They all won super regionals, and now they all won the first round of a College World Series game. So they're all red hot. I mean, that part's not questionable. Like Jeffrey and I were talking a little while ago. Arkansas's lineup is right now they're hitting 1 through 8. I think they have a little bit of a hole in the 9 spot with Gregory, the left fielder, but even he was productive today. Had a couple of hits. They've got,
and he leads the team in OPS.
Yeah, well, Braden Webb's a good hitter leading off for them. What's the kid's name? Slavens. Brady Slavens got off to a bad start, but he's starting to hit. Caden Wallace is. I love Caden Wallace's game. I posted this on RebelGrove.com. As a Cubs fan, I hope the Cubs can get Caden Wallace out of this class. I think he's a major league player. They're getting Robert Moore's hitting like he did last year. Battles is hitting pretty well right now. Stovall, the freshman, is. He had 5 or 6 weeks where he didn't hit at all, and now he's really starting to hit. So their lineup is, they're getting a lot of production up and down their lineup. They're a very good defensive team, especially in the infield. Turner, the catcher, is a pretty good catcher. He does some things well. But again, what Ole Miss has that Arkansas doesn't have on Monday night is that starting pitcher who has shown the ability to take the ball and just shove it. Arkansas's gone to Will McIntyre the last. I guess he pitched against Oklahoma State. He got knocked around a little bit in the game that they came back and won. He pitched really well against North Carolina in the game that they clinched their super regional. So he's done some good things, and he can be a good pitcher, and he can be a good pitcher in that park. But if you told me to bet on a team on Monday night, I'd bet on Ole Miss because Ole Miss has Elliott. And, I mean, they're both really good teams. Look, we said this going in. Can Arkansas beat Ole Miss? Of course. Can Ole Miss beat Arkansas? Of course. It could go either way. But if you told me to bet on a team, I'd bet on Ole Miss because of Elliott.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of agree, but they're both really good. And then,
sure.
Lastly, I'll leave you with this. They're best friends, apparently, because I've heard they're best friends and they post each other's stuff. As MLB stuff, who do you think has the better career, Gonzalez or Wallace?
I'd rather have.
Or do you think it's a tie?
I'd rather have Gonzalez just because there's an outside chance he could play shortstop. But I think he's a better overall hitter than Wallace. But I think they're both terrific players.
I think they're both just studs. You just look at them and.
I mean, look, Jacob Gonzalez is a superstar, man. I mean,
I would take Gonzalez over Wallace.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wallace isn't some bum either.
No,
not.
No, he's not a bum at all. He's a good player, but no, Wallace has a chance. Not Wallace. Gonzalez has a chance to go first overall. I mean, probably won't, but he's a top 5 pick. I don't know that Wallace is picked that high. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Tom from Gulf Breeze, Florida.
Hey, Tom, what's up, man?
I was, thanks for having the show. I was wondering, and Chase may be the one to answer this question, but how do you I mean, it's, he doesn't have a crystal ball, but how do you compare Nikhazy and Elliott at this point? Is there any way to even think of a comparison, or is it too early, or how's their games, compare?
They're pretty similar. You're right. It's a better question for him. They're pretty similar. They're pretty similar guys.
Right.
Both. Beyond just it's mostly about the way that they compete, the way that they get the absolute most out of their stuff. It's the way that it's the way they just. I think they lift their opponent. They lift their teammates with the way that they compete on the mound. I think that's the similarity. Nikhazy was kind of unflappable, and that's what Elliott appears to be. Now, look, Hunter, this is going to be a really big start for him on Monday night. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see what he does in that environment in what is essentially a national semifinal game on Monday night. I mean, whoever wins still has more work to do. And whoever loses is not eliminated and can come out of the loser's bracket. But it's a big game, so I want to see what he does in that environment. But he doesn't. My
only concern with Elliott, I saw him. When he pitched against Miami, he was kind of really didn't have his stuff. He's kind of really off, and had to struggle, but he got through it. That was kind of Nikhazy-like to me.
Yeah.
When he pitched against Southern, he had it. His game was on, and it was amazing. But, I think he's, unfortunately, he's probably going to have his best stuff, coming up. I would say.
Well, yeah, everybody that's left, everybody that's there is good, and the 4 teams that won this weekend are really good and hot right now. So, I mean, there's not going to be any freebies the rest of the way. I mean, everybody that's those 4 teams that won this weekend, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Ole Miss, they're all capable of winning the national championship. They're all national championship caliber teams at this point. So you're going to have to beat really good teams, and you're probably going to have a little good fortune. Couple of things are going to have to go your way. It's certainly possible that's a super close game where it comes down to just one pitch, one hit, that kind of thing. I mean, that's where we are at this point. This is pretty high level at this point.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm one of the guys that, I'm glad things have turned out this way I think really Mike Bianco, I believe he's a really good guy. And I think, I'm just, I love baseball, but I'm just glad to see that we made it to the College World Series. I didn't really expect to be, where we are by any means whatsoever based on this year. But I mean, it's just been a magical year, really a magical. Unbelievable year.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Hey, Tom, thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, man. Take care.
You too. Yeah, it's an incredible story. Nobody saw this coming. I mean, they were the last team into the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's remarkable. And now they're a very legitimate national championship contender at this point. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal. This is Austin from Pontotoc.
Hey, Austin. What's up, man?
Man, before I ask the question, just got to get this out of the way. Appreciate all you guys do every single day. It's a fantastic podcast. Appreciate all y'all's work.
Oh, thanks.
Neal, I've over the last couple of weeks, I've been listening as we've been on this ride here over this baseball postseason. I got to ask, and I'm sure that you probably felt this vibe too a little bit just from how you've been reacting. But this is the first time really in my 24 years on this planet where it really feels like, confidently for the first time you can say out loud that the Ole Miss Rebels have a legitimate shot to win a national championship in a Major III sport. And again, like you've been saying, everybody here can still win. There's not a single guy playing in this tournament that doesn't feel like they can win this championship. But hypothetically, let's just say this time next Sunday or Monday that the Rebels can pull this out. You've been following us now for multiple years, Chase as well. I just because I don't think you guys have really been asked this question, so I just want to be the one to ask it. What do you believe a national championship in this season, especially considering everything that happened, all the ups and downs, and believe me, there were a lot of downs. This team is really a storybook team. I was wondering, what do you think a national championship would mean to the University of Mississippi in its current state? I'm just curious.
I mean, you could probably tell me better than I could tell you what it would mean. I mean, it means everything. I mean, winning a championship is hard. I mean, like you said, I mean, look, I think the 4 best teams in this tournament are the 4 that just won.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, all 4 of them have a shot. All 4 of them are not going to win a national championship. Only one of them is going to win a national championship. So it's really hard to win. It's what does it mean? I mean, it's euphoric. I mean, I'm a Cubs fan. When the Cubs won the World Series, it was, as I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, it was one of the happiest days of my life. It was, which is really stupid when you think about it. It's a group of people that you don't really know, that you're not part of it. You didn't win it. But,
exactly.
I think I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's, I mean, I'm sure that what it would do for a university, it probably enhances enrollment. It probably enhances endowment. It probably enhances giving. It makes people feel good. All of those things. I mean, and you're right. It would be, if this team were the one that won it, it would be so unpredictable. I think I said this a week ago. I can't remember it. Yeah, I know. I was talking to Ben Mintz about it on the podcast. It almost, if you just took a step back and read that story, you would think it was fiction.
Absolutely.
Because most teams that win it are didn't have that kind of a dip the way that Ole Miss did. I mean, Ole Miss is a 3 seed. They were the last team in the tournament, and they barely got in. And here they are, just on fire. And so, hell, I don't know. What would it mean? It would be super exciting for Ole Miss people, I would think. I mean, obviously, duh. It would be cathartic, I think, in many ways.
I was listening to the Chatinier show earlier this week, and he said a quote that really stuck out to me. He said, "This team is probably going to have a 30 for 30 not written on them." And honestly, like you really could make a case, because if this team does pull it off, this is by far, it's a Cinderella story in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot better Cinderella stories from smaller schools, like Coastal Carolina sticks out in my mind. Fresno State sticks out in my mind. But this is a special one, because it's not uncommon knowledge. This was the last team in the tournament.
Yeah, well, it would be a story of perseverance.
Sure.
And whether ESPN would do a 30 for 30, I don't know. I know that Peyton was joking, but the SEC Network would do something on it, because I saw where they did a show about Mississippi State's championship team last year, and I mean, it wouldn't be hard. If you're sitting down to write the script for the show, it wouldn't be hard to write it. There would be a very natural story arc that you would be able to follow as a writer, as a producer, that would be super simple to produce, that would be pretty dramatic, because, again, this was a team that went from number 1 to 7 and 14. 7 and 14. Those are real numbers. His team, through 21 SEC games, was 7 and 14. They were winning 33.3% of their SEC games. And here they are.
They were dead on arrival in a lot of ways.
They were. Well, it was close. I mean, like Peyton and I talked about it. I remember doing the show with Peyton where he goes, "Well, we got to win 7 of the next 9." And I mean, this league's hard to win 7 out of 9. You can play really well and go 6 and 3 or 5 and 4 in 9 games, and they did. They went 7 and 2 and got the last spot. And yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a story.
It really is. And before I go, just wanted to say thanks again for all you and Chase do. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for the call, Austin. I appreciate that.
Have a good night.
You too. I know several of you have been trying to call. I'm watching the phones now, 662-259-0991. I'll stay with you guys as long as you want to talk. Again, Ole Miss wins 5-1 tonight. Dylan DeLucia was just absolutely fantastic for Ole Miss. Ole Miss advances to the Monday night game against Arkansas, who beat Stanford 17-2 earlier in the day. Hey, who's this?
Hey, it's David from Georgia.
Hey, Davis, how are you?
I'm good, man. I don't know if I've been this good for a while. I mean, winning the first game is huge. I've got one upper, one downer, and then we're going to end on upper.
All right.
Can we just give it up to DeLucia?
Yeah.
DeLucia has been absolute nails since Bianco put him in the Friday night spot and said go. He's been absolute nails. The downer, I'm kind of worried about our bullpen a little bit because, I mean,
Why?
if you think about it, on Monday night, if we have to use them, we've got a whole bunch of guys down there that haven't pitched in over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I'm worried about is when you're throwing a bullpen, it's a whole lot different than out there throwing real bullets. And that's the only thing that I'm worried about is we went through the Super Regional using 4 pitchers. I mean, when was the last time Johnson threw in an actual game?
In Coral Gables, right?
Was it Miami?
Yeah, I think against Miami on that Sunday.
Yeah, and that's been almost 2 weeks. That'll be 2 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah, if he pitches on Monday night, it would have been 15 days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm worried about is we've got a bunch of guys down there that are really, really, really fresh. But throwing in a ball game is totally different than throwing in a bullpen session.
But
that's the only thing I'm worried about with our bullpen.
And I get it, but I'd rather have that problem than have them all exhausted, everybody on fumes.
Absolutely. But, I mean, obviously I haven't played like these guys have, but I did play all the way through high school. And that's not saying much, I know. But, if you haven't thrown in 2 weeks, sometimes you might lose the strike zone. But to end on a good note, can we talk about that Hayden Dunhurst back pick in the 8th inning? I mean, I haven't seen him try to do that at all, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was nasty. It was a hell of a throw.
That was and the tag Elko put down was just out of this world.
Yeah, they're playing really, really well right now.
And I know what I said about the bullpen is nitpicking. I know it is, but I think, I mean, for the first time in my life as an Ole Miss fan, I think we're going to win Monday. But it's still that back of your mind thing.
Well, look, if you don't win Monday, it's just because you just ran into a team that was every bit as hot as you. I agree with you. I think Ole Miss is going to win Monday. I think Hunter Elliott's the difference. But, again, I mean, at this point, every team you play is red hot too. Every team that you play, you don't – look, it's hard to get to Omaha. It's even harder to win in Omaha. So when you play in a winner's bracket game in Omaha, and that's what Ole Miss is going to play in on Monday, you're playing a team just like Ole Miss. You're playing a team that has won a regional, that has won a super regional, and that has won a game to get into the winner's bracket. To do that, you have to be good and hot. So when 2 good hot teams meet up, typically you get a hell of a game, and that's kind of what I expect on Monday. I think it's probably going to be a really high-level, high-intensity, well-played baseball game. I'd be surprised if it's not that.
Yeah, and my wife was asking me the other day. She was like, "Why is this such a big deal? There's still 8 teams left, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay, babe, think about it this way. This is basically college baseball's Final Four. If you make it to Omaha, your season was a success."
Absolutely.
It is. I mean, and to win your first game in Omaha, because I remember. To go off on a tangent here, the last time Ole Miss went to the College World Series, when they beat, who was it, Louisiana Lafayette?
Yeah.
When they beat Louisiana Lafayette, I wasn't able to watch it on TV. I was sitting on the flight line at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar getting ready to go on a flight and following it on Twitter. So, and I was actually flying when they lost the game one of the 2014 College World Series. So to be able to sit here and watch this is just unbelievable to me, and I'm just having a blast doing it. So, and no pressure, it's just baseball. Go out there and play, boys. All right, man, I appreciate everything you and Chase do.
Thank you.
I've been a subscriber for a while. Don't plan on canceling it anytime soon. Don't raise the rates, man. They're really good.
Thanks, Davis. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate all the calls. Phone lines are open, 662-259-0991. Take calls as long as you guys want to call. Yeah, I'm surprised. You guys are more sober than I thought you were going to be, by the way. I anticipated a little more intoxicated show, if I'm completely honest. I tried to be careful today because we had a pool day at the house. I had my first beer at 11 a.m., so I had to be careful. But you guys weren't having to be careful. I'm surprised. I'm surprised this show has been as sober as it has been. It might be because those who had so much, you're beyond the make a phone call portion of your night. Hey, who's this?
Crazy.
What's your name again?
Crazy.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hi, Neal.
Hey, are you in Omaha or are you at home?
I'm at home.
Okay, did you watch the game?
Yes, sir.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
You liked it? What was your favorite part of it?
Probably when one of our players hit a home run.
Oh, when Kevin Graham hit the home run. Who's your favorite Ole Miss player?
Probably Kevin Graham.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense since he hit the home run. What do you think's going to happen? How far do you think Ole Miss is going to go?
I hope they're going to the championship.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
But my dad's about to get my I want to get my ears pierced, but my dad thinks I'm too young.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm not going to get involved in that one. I'm going to leave that to your mom and dad. I'm going to leave that up to them. I'm not going to express an opinion on that.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you think Ole Miss can access their demons like your 2016 Cubs did?
Do I think they can exercise their demons the way the Cubs did? Yeah. I mean, why not, right? You're this close. If you get this close, you got a chance.
Thanks, Neal. Howdy toddy.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, phone lines are open. I never could pick up the name there, but I always appreciate the calls. Yet another sober call. I'm waiting for the drunk calls. I'm surprised they haven't come. Oh, that was Sadie. Okay, that was the name. Yeah. Avery says 10 is the perfect age for an ear piercing. As she said it, I was trying to remember how old our girls were when they got their ears pierced. Maybe it was 10. I can't remember. And I wasn't involved in that decision either. That was kicked up to a different committee in the House. I wasn't about to make that decision. I had no idea. But appreciate Sadie for calling. It's always good to hear from her. Let's see. Hardman says, "Will this be the pod Monday?" No, we're going to do a Monday morning podcast, and then I'll do this show on Monday night. I think had Ole Miss lost tonight, this probably would have been the podcast, but they didn't, so we'll do a Monday morning podcast. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Big G.
Hey, Big G, what's up, man?
I don't know that I'll meet your qualification as drunk, but I'm pretty damn happy. I got a couple of questions for you, man. One, I had a debate. 6 of us watched the game tonight. 2 of the guys I was with tonight watched all of the Southeast Louisiana game, and they all told us we could not be fans for this College World Series because we bailed out at the Southeast Louisiana game. Your opinion on that?
No, I mean, part of being a fan is being emotional, and part of being emotional is being pissed off and giving up and then coming back. I just think that's part of the experience. No, I don't think you lose your fan card because you frustratingly gave up on your team at one point in the season. And look, man, I mean, there was every justification to give up on this team.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, there was every reason. Again, they were 7-14 in the league. They got the last at-large spot in the NCAA tournament. It was justified. They were a 3 seed in Coral Gables. You're all good there.
No doubt. This is the first year since streaming all the games became available that I have not watched every streaming game. I bailed out. I said, I'm done, and now I'm being chastised. But anyway, second thing, I would love to have I know you guys were debating on whether to send somebody or not, and the funding became available. That's great. I think a companion podcast with a baseball game actually would be more entertaining than the football game in some ways, just because it's more, low speed, more kind of back and forth could happen. I think that would be fun. But anyway,
yeah.
Somebody asked earlier. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say sometimes it's kind of hard because so many people stream now that if you're on like DirecTV or whatever and other people are streaming, it's difficult to get things synced, and so the I don't know the chat, but we might do it as we get closer. If they get to we'll figure it out. Probably won't do that on Monday, but we'll kind of see what it looks like as the week goes on.
There you go. Somebody asked earlier, what does it mean if we win the whole damn thing? It means 12 months. And that's as somebody who graduated from high school in the 90s, what year did LSU walk off of Miami? Was that 96?
Something like that, yeah.
93? It was in the 90s somewhere. Somewhere around there. Basically when the internet took off, I think is when it killed any happiness over even a national championship past about a year. So, you were saying it lasts. I didn't know exactly what you meant.
It lasts longer than a year, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it lasts longer than a year. I mean, I use the Cubs because I'm a Cubs fan.
So you're saying from a fan standpoint,
yeah,
not a school standpoint.
Yeah, but even for a school, I mean, it's a championship. A championship's forever. I mean, you get a championship and you're a champion forever. Those are the teams that you bring the players back when they're in their 60s and everybody stands up and applauds, even though no one even remembers it. It's just different. Yeah. I mean, like Ben Zobrist was at the Cubs-Braves game yesterday, and they introduced him, and he gets a standing ovation because he got that hit in Cleveland that night. I mean, when you win a championship, it's different. It changes everything. A championship's not just 1 year.
No doubt.
A championship's not just 1 year. It's not. It totally changes the way that you view things. It's different.
Yeah, from a fan perspective, I agree.
Yeah.
Program perspective, I'm not sure. That's where I would push back.
Oh, no. I think
anyway.
I think if Ole Miss were to win a title, people would talk about Ole Miss differently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because you're a champion. It's a totally different deal. I mean, look, whenever you talk about Chris Lemonis, even though Chris Lemonis and Mississippi State had a terrible year this year, next season people will still talk about Mississippi State having won a championship in 2021. No question about it. It's just how it works.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, one of the coolest things about winning a title this year, if we could pull it out, would be basically stand up at the end and go, Mississippi says what's up.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, Mississippi does. The SEC does. I mean, look, it's a hell of a league. I mean, but no, it would mean, I don't know, just, again, championships last forever. I mean, like I said, as a Cubs fan, the guys that won that championship in 2016, I'll follow those guys the rest of their careers.
There you go. All right, last question. F1 Formula Racing, Verstappen or the field this week in Canada?
I'm not sure I could name one F1 racer.
Oh, who do you take when someone says somebody or the field?
I'll take the field.
Tiger or the field?
I'll typically go field.
We're going with the Ville.
Yep.
All right, that's where I'll put my money.
All right.
Enjoyed it, buddy.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Hey, who's this?
Hey, it's Aubrey, North Carolina.
Hey, Aubrey, how are you?
Oh, doing well. I took my 3-year-old. We have a high affiliate single A ball here in Asheville. It's the Tourist Houston Astros affiliate. Thursday, I'm sitting there, 4 people in front of me, and I look over, and the guy's wearing a Mississippi State National Championship hat. And I'm like, oh, well, this is a coincidence. And I just think something like you were talking the previous caller of, like, when you win a national championship, like, you're going to be talked about and seen.
Of course, because it's yours forever. Once you win it, no one can take it away from you.
That's it. That's what I was like. Hey, you just got to get in the winner's bracket and ride with it. But I really appreciate everything y'all do.
Oh, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Love listening to y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well, man. I am just so pumped about our Rebels and the whole season and where we started to where we're at now. These guys just look lights out. They're playing loose. And I think that's the key right now. We saw that in Hattiesburg, really in Coral Gables, because we all know, they were the last team to come in to the field. But they were preseason, top 5 team ranked. So the talent was always there. And talent is starting to come into their own. And I know we didn't quite have our starting rotation down till much later than most of our SEC counterparts, but I always saw Dylan DeLucia, like when he was coming out of the pen earlier in the season, that guy was you could just tell he had something. But I didn't know that he was going to be a Friday night starter. But Hunter Elliott was a different story. Knowing that he was a true freshman, the size, the fact that he wears 26, and he's a big left-hander. Super nice guy, too. We got to chat with him after LSU, after he put up a dominant performance. But I feel like these guys have just really, really rallied behind one another, and they believe in one another. We're seeing everything come to fruition now, and I really don't have any words. I sent out a couple texts. I have a 9-year-old daughter watching the live stream in there. She can see my text. So this is not a drunk call. It's kind of a buzz call, but I am very fired up. I'm just really, I'm so proud of the team and our coach, and I don't know. I really expect a great game Monday night, but I'm with you and the rest of the callers. I really feel like the ball's in our court come Monday night. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. I mean, I think you're the favorite on Monday night, and if you win, it's going to be awfully tough to keep you out of the championship series.
Well, if something, if we were to slip up and say Elliott was not on his best game, if we have to play Wednesday, it'd probably be Wednesday, the first game. I'm guessing.
Yeah, you could. I mean, look, on Wednesday you could go back to DeLucia. The problem in that scenario is that if you lose on Monday, is you've got to go to somebody else on Tuesday. You probably could go to DeLucia on Wednesday if you got there, but then you got to go to somebody else on Thursday. It's doable, and I would say the same thing about Arkansas if they were to lose. It's doable, but it's really hard. And
well, but a lot of people didn't want to go to the third day if we had to play Southern, the third game, and I was always thinking like, well, Mike, he announced his starting 2 pitchers in Hattiesburg from the get-go, but he didn't name us game 3 starter. Our Drew McDaniel pitched an incredible game,
He
against
did.
Southern
Yeah,
on
sure.
that midweek game
Sure.
before we went to LSU. So Drew McDaniel has been pitching fantastic.
Yeah.
Just nasty.
Oh, it's doable.
Nasty
Yeah,
curveball.
it's doable,
but
for
he
sure.
had a bad inning against Texas A&M, which really, that bad inning cost us that series, but it didn't matter. I mean, we're where we are by luck, but at the same time, I don't have to say by luck, but we're where we're at now. I think we're better for it. And that's why we are where we are. And I really have a lot of faith in a lot of these back-end bullpen guys that have not even seen the field. Like, I heard another caller just briefly talk about Brandon Johnson not even pitching in the Super Regional. And I think that's kind of like a feather in our cap right now. I am just over the moon with where we're at this moment. And I just want to tell you also, thank you to you and Chase. I've been following you guys. I appreciate the work you guys are doing, especially right after the games and keeping everybody informed and up to tune and up to speed with everything that's going on. And to everybody out there who's watching Ole Miss baseball, guys, this might be it. This might be our year. And if it's not, it's okay. I have a really good feeling. What about you?
Yeah, I think you got a hell of a shot. That's what I've been saying. I would pick you on Monday night, and I think whoever wins Monday night is the prohibitive favorite to get to the championship series. Hey, thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Neal, man. Good night. Good night.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal. This is Greg from Tunica.
Hey, Greg. What's up?
Hey, I got 3 questions for you.
Right.
What are you drinking?
I'm having a Bell's official hazy IPA, and I'm almost out. I'm contemplating. I don't know whether anybody else in my house is awake. I'm contemplating like what I need to get after this because I'm gonna need something.
Well, the bourbon after the IPA, that's tough for the head in the morning.
Yeah,
it's a good call. It's a good call.
Well, I've got to get up early because I'm supposed to talk to the kid who committed to Ole Miss today. I'm supposed to talk to him at 8 in the morning, but he's on Eastern time zone, so it might be 7 my time. So yeah.
Hell, good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
Good luck with that.
What are you drinking? That's the better question, Greg.
I'm drinking a little, I don't know if you have it, very old Barton. Have you had that?
I've not ever had that. I've seen it.
All right. Yeah, okay. So each time I go into the liquor store and get my very old Barton, I will tell you at ABC in Alabama, when you go over the state line to Alabama,
mm-hmm.
they tell you very old Barton, it is the most underrated bourbon they've ever tasted.
I've heard other people
try some.
I've heard other people say that, so I'll have to give it a shot.
All right. That's your next try.
Okay.
I got 2 more questions.
All right.
Has J.G. Tate found out the result of the game?
I don't know.
And what is J.G. Tate drinking right now in Putucana?
I don't know if he has found out the result of the game. I would be a little surprised if he knows, because I suspect Jay has been passed out for a few hours now.
That's probably true.
What is he drinking? I mean, the safe bet is bourbon. I know they were going to stop at one of the stores in the airport and buy some where they could take
duty free.
Duty free. Yeah, they were going to do that. So it's probably a fairly decent bourbon that he has had far too much of at this point. And my guess is that he, as much as he likes to play the "I'm too manly for this" card, he's mixed in some of the the fruity tropical drinks by now.
I totally agree.
That are loaded with either,
but won't admit it.
Yeah, he'll admit it later. He's pretty good about it, owning up to it. But in the moment, he probably would tell you that he was forced into it. But that probably either had some tequila or some rum or both. And,
good call.
Yeah, and it's. I'm hoping he's using his game changer patches. I'll just say that.
I agree. Hey, good plug there. I like that. Hey, like what y'all are doing. Appreciate it. Howdy.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. There's one number, it's a 662 number that has tried to call so many times. I'm looking for it. I'm trying to grab it when you call. So if you 662, it's a 507. I'm not going to give the rest of your number, obviously, but I'm looking for your call when it shows up. Here we go. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal.
Hey, who's this?
This is Ashley.
Hey, Ashley, what's up?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, nothing much. Well, my fiance graduated from Ole Miss in 2016. He's a huge fan of yours. He's probably got more questions than me. If you don't mind, can I pass the phone off to him?
Sure.
My main question, though, before I give it to him, is what is with the potato?
The potato, some detractors of our podcast earlier a long time ago referred to us as the Potato Log podcast because we were sponsored by the Oxford Exxon. And so we just decided rather than taking offense to it,
OEP.
we would just sort of embrace the potato log. So we're just the little potato log podcast that could 11 years later.
I love that. Thank you so much, Neal. This is my fiance, Josh.
Hey,
Josh. We love y'all so much. I drove home 4 hours to New Albany, Mississippi on Sunday from Hattiesburg listening to y'all. He loves you so much. This is Josh.
All right.
You have found the drunk watchers of the postgame show.
What have y'all been drinking, Josh?
We started with beer. We're on bourbon now, and just kind of hanging in.
Well, what's going on? Well, you have to be pretty excited, I'm guessing.
We're very excited. Very excited. Big game tonight. I did the best I could. Pulled the Rebs through. Just did everything we could. So what's on the menu for Father's Day tomorrow?
So it's funny. I was about to ask you the same thing. I'm going to smoke some wings and finish them in the air fryer, and probably going to put some sausages on the grill, and then I'll leave the rest of it up to my wife and other people. I'm just going to handle the grill part of it.
Easy enough.
What about you?
We've got a sourdough loaf being folded and stretched as we speak. A carrot cake, I guess, ready to roll, and I think we're doing Mexican pickup, man. So we're kind of taking it easy.
Oh, it's nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, I'm hoping it's I'm hoping to have my work done by 1:00 so that it can become another pool day and go from there. I was pretty proud of myself, Josh, because tonight I turned on the Ole Miss game and I said to myself, I can sit here and watch the game and not be productive, or I can pull up 10 thoughts and start working on them. And I've actually gotten 7 of 10 thoughts written. Like during the timeouts, during the in between innings and stuff, I was pretty pleased with myself. That was a very productive. It was a productive 3 hours, and I was smart enough this morning to know that I was probably going to drink some today, and so I set up all of the podcast stuff before that, and so I'm pretty pleased with my level of efficiency today, if I'm honest.
Absolutely. Well, I will say we both did the best we could tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Neal.
Appreciate you, Josh.
See you, man.
Bye. It was nice. Josh and Ashley seem like nice people. All right, phone lines open. I'll take your calls as long as you guys want to call. There's the number 662-259-0991. Jay Wall, you can call. Answer the 901 number. I'm looking for it now. Got it up. That's what she said. Is it bad when you do that? That's what she said to yourself, when you correct yourself when you make a mistake? Probably is. It's the best advice my dad ever gave me. Best advice I've given as a father? I don't know. I have to really think about that. That's pretty deep for a Saturday night. I've been pretty fortunate. I got really lucky in the dad category. And I don't know about advice. I mean, my advice to my kids is pretty simple. It's just always chase your dreams, work hard, do the best you can. It's pretty basic stuff. Be accountable. That kind of stuff. Yeah, Corey says Neal will be on the margs tomorrow. There's a real chance that could happen. That's a really good question, though, Hardman. I got to think about that. Best advice I ever got. I don't know. It's really deep. And honestly, some of it's kind of so personal that you almost hate to answer it in that setting. By the way, at one point, there were more than 750 of you guys on this site. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. I didn't know what these post-game shows would be like for baseball. We're getting football numbers, which is pretty remarkable. Don't forget, we're brought to you by the College Corner. I should be saying this a lot more than I'm saying it. Scott and the people at the College Corner are kind enough to sponsor this show. We're going to do one of these after every game at the College World Series, whether there's 2 more or whether there's up to, I guess, what's the number? 7 more. I guess Ole Miss could conceivably play 8 games. Caller, hang on real quick. I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. But it's brought to you by the College Corner. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Enter College World Series in the search deal and pull up their gear. Get all the latest Ole Miss branded College World Series gear. And in the event that Ole Miss wins a championship, literally the moment that the final out is recorded or the final run is scored, they'll have gear up on their site. Make sure that you go there, please. collegecornerstore.com. Hey, who do we have?
I've got Don.
Hey, Don, what's up?
Hey. So, got an interesting situation here. We my wife and I here have been watching Ole Miss through the whole year and all the ups and downs. But my mother-in-law, and or we could just act like this is a theoretical situation. Okay. If your mother-in-law were to graduate from both Southern Miss and Auburn, how do you go about bragging about booking your trips to Omaha, and how do you maneuver these conversations with family?
See, I'm the wrong person to talk to about this because I'm just not the trash talking type, because I've always assumed that if I trash talk, it's going to come back and hit me multifold. And so, like, if my team's winning, I just sort of enjoy the winning without rubbing it in faces, because when my team's not winning, which inevitably will happen, right? I don't want my face rubbed in it. So I think if I'm you, I just book my trip to Omaha and go. I don't make it a spiteful thing.
Exactly. So we actually have not been making anything spiteful. So the issue is my stepfather-in-law. He's also an Ole Miss grad. So the issue is trying to find a way to get all of us over there while one of the 4 of us is very upset after the last couple of weeks have played out. So we'll see, but appreciate your input and enjoy the show.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate you.
I'm in, Kyle.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Asa Hill from Oxford, Mississippi. What's up?
What's up? Tell me your name again.
Asa Hill.
Asa, how are you, bud?
Hey, man. I'm sorry. What am I calling into?
You're on the MPW Digital Postgame Show.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
I got sent this number. I told it was a post-game show to call into.
What you been drinking, Asa?
Hey, I've been drinking a bunch of Bud Light and Miller Light, and just been watching the Rebels today. I'm with a bunch of Rebels fans.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're super excited. We won today. We knew Auburn didn't stand a chance. They're co-SEC Player of the Year. Trash, absolute trash. Deluge, she pitched a great game. Am I on like live radio?
Yeah, you're on a live stream.
Oh, okay. Live stream. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I think we're going to take down Arkansas, even though they won 17-2 today.
Yep.
And I want to give a shout out to my boys Julian Wilson, Thomas Holland, Smith Coleman, all the boys that I went to Ole Miss with. We absolutely rolled over Auburn. Never stood a chance. How long do I have? Do I have a little longer to talk, or
Yeah,
what?
go for it.
All right, hell yeah. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? So, yeah, I think we're going to the fucking Natty. Sorry, can I cuss or no?
I mean, you just did. I'd prefer that you didn't do too much of it because YouTube will get mad at me.
Okay, yeah,
but
sorry.
yeah.
I'll clean up my act. My bad.
Okay, it's all right.
But I think we're going to the Natty, and I'm going to go to Omaha next weekend if we go. I thought we had a great game today. Hitting-wise, we did a great job. Pitching, we were dealing. Hunter Elliott, he's going to do a great job on Monday when we play Arkansas. We're going to absolutely wreck them. And what live stream is this? just curious.
The MPW Digital live stream.
Okay.
Yep. Hey, what else have what else have you guys been doing besides drinking? Because it kind of feels like things besides drinking have happened.
Nothing. I've literally just been drinking the whole day. I had two buckets of Miller Lite watching the game at a restaurant. Dropped a $125 tab, but met some old women. This MILF was watching the game with us. She walked up. She's like, "Oh, y'all went to Ole Miss? Like, I thought y'all were under 21." I was like, "No, I just graduated actually, but you're a MILF."
How old was she?
How old was she?
Yeah, how old was the woman you're referencing?
Oh, man, she had to have been at least 41. 40.
Oh.
Hey, y'all! Hey! Y'all be quiet. I'm on this. This post game show for Ole Miss right now. Y'all be quiet. Sorry, all my Ole Miss friends are.
So she was like 41, 40.
We're super rowdy for the Reds.
Yeah, 41, 42.
41, 42. Oh, yeah. The MILF,
yeah.
She was like 41, 42. She was looking real fine, but I just wanted to call in. I just got sent this number. They wanted me to get on, but yeah, I'm just excited for the Reds. I thought we had a great game today. We have good momentum going. I'm ready for Arkansas. We're about to head out to the bar, so I'm going to have to hang up on you. But
all right, Asa.
Hey, go Rebels, baby. I appreciate having me on.
You bet, Asa. Appreciate you.
Hey, shout out to my boys, Julian Wilson, Smith Coleman,
Julian,
all those boys.
Yeah, shout out to Julian and all the guys. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, thanks for having me
man.
on. You have a great night. Go Rebels. Hottie fucking toddy, baby. Let's fucking go.
See you, man. Bye. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, this is JD.
Hey, JD, what's up?
Well, I got a couple things for you. One, Sadie was not who called in earlier. It was Swayze. She made me call back.
Okay.
Because she was a little disappointed in the name, but that's all right.
I couldn't hear it. I'm so. Please extend my apologies.
I will. No, you got a lot going on being there by yourself, so no big deal. But, dude, what is going on with the diet? You're killing it, man. We got to know as MPW fans, what are you doing?
I've been intermittent fasting for about 11 weeks, and I have a pretty small window when I eat, and I don't eat a lot, and I exercise a lot, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, I've done the keto a lot, and it's been really good. And I've been scared to do the intermittent fasting, but it seems like you're rocking and rolling with it.
I'm trying. I'd gotten back up to 230, and I said I don't want to go there again, and so I just kind of caught it and stopped. And honestly, the exercise that I do the most is walking. I lift some, and I lift 3 days a week like I have been, and I still do a good bit of like Peloton and stuff. But the big thing that I do is walk.
Yeah, we've got the Peloton, and it's fun, but there's times where I feel like I'm on the Peloton and then I go try to do a run, and the run seems a whole lot harder than the Peloton. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. The older I get, the more I love running, and I think it's a great exercise in terms of trying to lose weight. But the older I get, the harder running is on my joints and my feet even. Like it's just harder for me to recover as I did maybe just even 10 years ago as opposed to now. I just don't feel like it's as productive an exercise for me. I can mix it in, and I can do some like not sprints, but like I can mix a run with a walk and kind of do both. But like the get out and go for a 8-mile run is, if I do that, the number of days that it takes for me to recover is a lot longer now.
Yeah, you and I are kind of on the same timeline. I'm almost to 50, and for me doing the keto and then going out and running, kind of blowing it up as hard as I can for a mile and a half, 2 miles, really worked real well. But after that, the long distance stuff just wears me out. But look, I know enough about our exercise routines. Dude, let's talk about Dylan DeLucia. I mean, that dude. He's come on strong. He was a perfect game going into the 6th inning.
Yeah, he's been terrific really all season. I know he had a couple outings there where he got hit some, where I'm wondering if he had a little dead arm or whatever, some fatigue. But he was really sharp tonight. I mean, he kept Auburn completely off balance. And when you're throwing everything for a strike, it really forces hitters to have to chase. It forces, and you're ahead in the count as consistently as he was, where hitters are down 0-2, down 1-2. You're really having to have defensive approaches, and then you can throw that changeup for a strike. And he's tough. He was brutal today. I mean, look, that's an Auburn team that kind of hit their way to the College World Series, and they had no chance against him tonight.
No, not at all. The one thing that I kind of caught on to during the broadcast is a lot of those guys, the guys that were doing the broadcast, noticed that Bianco was calling the same pitch for DeLucia. The first pitch was the same pitch. It was a slider, I think they were calling it. But I mean, you would think that those guys would pick up on that, but they didn't. I don't know. Maybe the slider was just that good.
It was that good, and he was throwing it for a strike. And so when you're just pounding the strike zone, it's really hard to have a disciplined approach. Like, it's the opposite of the Arkansas-Stanford game today, where Arkansas had a very specific approach at the plate, and they were kind of spitting on the off-speed stuff. And that kid for Stanford was throwing that for balls early, and so they were getting ahead in the count. And ultimately, the pitcher for Stanford kind of settled in, and he threw for some strikes before he got hit a little bit. But it was a different approach, and you can get away with that approach when the off-speed stuff is not in the strike zone, because you can just read off-speed and lay off of it. But if that off-speed stuff is in the strike zone and you're down 0-1, you're down 0-2, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, he definitely does a great job of getting ahead on the count, and I think that's been huge for us. But, man, I appreciate everything you guys do. I've been listening for years and years on the podcast, and first time to call in, but I appreciate everything you guys do and look forward to the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll hang in there.
Thanks, JD. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
All right, phone lines open, 662-259-0991. Yeah, we had some range on the calls tonight, huh? There's a 706 number that just left a voicemail message. Hey, who do we have?
John.
Hey, John, what's up?
Man, not a whole lot.
You sound sad. You okay? You tired?
I'm good.
Okay, good. What'd you drink tonight?
You good?
Yeah, I'm great. What'd you drink tonight?
Well, this, well, that.
Gotcha. What's going on? What do you think?
Man, I think that Big G can. Once you win a national championship, it's like for life, brother.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
For life, right?
Yeah,
I've watched every single game this year that's been televised. Every single one. And hadn't given up yet. Still not giving up. Still not. And I think we're in the right position. Got the right players, the right coaching staff. And that may ruffle a few feathers. But just want to say y'all do a great job.
Thank you.
And
appreciate
everything y'all do.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Anything else?
Neal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neal. Pool day tomorrow.
Yeah.
A little more sunscreen on that nose, brother.
Yeah, I got a little sun today. That's okay.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm the ball guy. Last thing before I let you go.
Yep.
And this is the drunk call that you've been waiting on. I use a Mach 3. What's the secret? I'm bald. I have no hair, but a little bit of facial hair. What's the secret?
What do you mean?
Because you slick, sheen, like you have no stubble. How you keep it that way?
On my head?
Yeah.
I just shave it a couple times a week.
Like every 2-3 days, because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, about every 4.
I do about every 3 days.
Every 4 or 5 days.
Mach 3.
I'm not.
What's your go-to?
Yeah, it's something like that. I just whatever razor I'm using on my face, I just use it on my head.
Got you. Appreciate it. Y'all
right.
Keep doing you, brother. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, man.
All right.
All right. There's a 901 number that's been trying to call. Call, and I'm trying to grab you. It's a 901-303. You know the rest of the number. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I'm looking for the call. Hey, who's this?
Oliver. Hey, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan, what's up?
Hey, Neal. Well, I'm on the road, headed to Kansas City, trying to make it South Kansas City tonight.
So you're on your way.
Thanks for being the entertainment.
On your way there or on your way back?
On the way back. Yeah, we left the stadium. We're headed back to Kansas City, or south of it.
Okay. What was it like tonight?
It was awesome. Hot as Hades.
Yeah, it looked hot. Like every time they showed crowd shots, the people looked hot.
Dude, it was. I mean, today just walking around. I mean, it was miserable. Like we were like cattle trying to find shade. You know, people just gather. There's not a whole lot of trees. You know.
Is it kind of? I've never been to Nebraska. Is it kind of like Arizona heat, or is it more humid than people are letting on?
Yeah, it's more humid than Arizona, for sure. But it's not like. It's not Mississippi heat, but it was just, we were in Kansas City last night at 6:00 and the car said 100 degrees. So, I mean, when you're 100 degrees, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For
sure.
It's just 100 degrees. I mean, it's hot.
You're baking at that point. Yeah.
You're baking. That's right. So anyway, it was good. I mean, I'll tell you, like Kay said, Rebel Nation, it was, I would say 10-1 Rebels to Auburn. Easy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
It was it was really good atmosphere. Really good game. Tell me about what happened to Jacob Gonzalez on that out when we couldn't tell in the stands.
He fouled it.
A foul ball?
Yeah, he fouled it off his foot, but the umpires didn't see it. It was really, really close. It wasn't like he didn't hit it flush off his foot. Like it appeared to like kind of graze the cleat. He felt it, but I don't think the umpire saw it, and apparently that's not reviewable.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, I just wanted to call in and break up the craziness a little bit.
All right, Dan. I appreciate you.
Oh, hey, one more question, Neal.
Yeah.
On the back throw, when Hayden threw it down to first, was Bianco asking for the strike there? The bat went around? Or do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, man.
Okay.
Well, thanks for doing what you do.
Appreciate you. Bye.
All right, man. Bye.
Hey, who do we have?
Oh my gosh, it's Gina from Memphis.
You made it.
I did. Thank you. I'm a huge fan of your show.
Thank you.
And I gotta say, my husband graduated from Auburn. I graduated from Ole Miss, so it's always a big competition. But unfortunately, he had to work tonight, so I got to drink and watch baseball by myself.
What'd you drink?
Seagrams and Dr. Pepper.
Wait, what?
Interesting. Seagrams
The vodka?
and Dr. Pepper. No, whiskey.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just say whiskey and Dr. Pepper. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
special.
Okay. Gotcha.
But anyway, so do you think that Hunter Elliott is going to come after Arkansas, considering when he had a chance to beat them when we played Arkansas?
Yeah, I think it helps that he's already pitched against them. I mean, obviously they've seen him too, so that's an advantage for them as well. But I mean, he's pitching so well right now that I think he's the difference on Monday night. I do. Yeah, I think he's going to go after Arkansas hard. I mean, I'm sure what Arkansas is going to try to do is do what they've been doing against teams, and that's run pitch counts up and have really competitive at-bats and that kind of thing. But look, Hunter's dealing right now. I mean, the way that he pitched against Southern Miss, if he can replicate that, I think Ole Miss is in great shape on Monday night.
I agree. And, I mean, the way that DeLucia came out there today, I mean, he was lights out.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps saying that they're worried about our bullpen. Like, I think it's awesome that we've only used, like, what, 6 maybe in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but there haven't been any stressful bullpen innings since since the Miami game.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that they haven't gone out there. I mean, that means that they're rested and ready to roll.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Monday night has a chance to be like a championship fight because, I mean, both teams are red hot. Both teams have rested bullpens. Both teams got great outings from their starters today. I guess both teams had exactly the same thing. I mean, they both Noland and DeLucia went 7 2/3. So, I mean.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away, like in the 7th or the 8th inning, and Nolan was only at like 70 pitches. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Stanford?
Well, it was kind of the same thing that DeLucia did. I mean, I think we talked about it earlier in the week that they're kind of similar pitchers. They both just pounded the strike zone, and when you're pounding the strike zone, you force teams out of. It's hard to be patient when you're just throwing strikes.
Well, I'm just impressed that we have pitchers that the moment is not too big. Like, they're just out there dealing.
Your dog is unhappy right now, Gina.
No, she's not. She's yelling hotty toddy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The chickens in my neighbor's house, they're trying to get loose, and she's not happy with it.
I gotcha.
But anyways, so yeah, it was an amazing night. Sucks for my husband to have to, go after bad guys tonight, but his team sucked, so here we are.
What you got planned?
I don't always end up on the good side of the fence during football season, but hey, baseball, we got him.
What you got planned for Father's Day? Anything?
I mean, we're going to take him out to eat. And we're actually going to go to a NASCAR race in Vegas in October, but he doesn't know that yet. So,
well, hopefully he won't watch a replay of this and find out. Well, I appreciate the call.
No, he won't. Thanks for taking my call, Neal. I tried so hard.
I saw you trying. I was trying to grab you.
I did. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Still 330 of you guys here on a Saturday night, 11:08. Really remarkable. Appreciate all of the calls, too. Phone lines are still open. I'll take your calls as long as you guys want to call. 662-259-0991 is the number. I'll get it back up on the screen. If I can find this one particular program, it like resets over and over. Not really sure I understand why it does that, but it does. That's all right. There's the number, 662-259-0991. Again, we're brought to you by the College Corner. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Search College World Series. Get your Ole Miss branded College World Series gear from them. Chase joined earlier in the night. So much of his coverage is brought to you by the Clearwater Group. If you ever deal with government, your business, you personally, anything, if you deal with government at all, and you want someone to help you navigate those waters, the Clearwater Group can help you do that. It's clearwatergroup.com. And then we're also, this is made possible by Corinth Dental. Invisalign, they have that at Corinth Dental. It's corinthdental.com. Hey, who do we have? Oh, I didn't grab it in time. It's a 601-954 number. If you'll call right back, I'll grab you. Call Chase again. I don't think he'd be very happy. Hey, who do we have? Yeah, we're approaching that part of the evening, too, where you get the hang-ups. No, I'm not going to call Rippy this late. Might do that Monday. Monday's going to be a really interesting night because that's going to be an intense baseball game, and the winner of that game is in phenomenal shape to go a long way in this tournament. Two teams that are just dominating the NCAA tournament. The games tomorrow, by the way, Texas A&M get started early at the 1 o'clock game. The loser is eliminated. The winner survives. And then the game tomorrow night, a winner's bracket game, Notre Dame and Oklahoma, that gets started at 6 on ESPN2 tomorrow night. The Ole Miss game on Monday night will be on ESPN. Both games on Monday will be on ESPN. Auburn and Stanford will meet at 1 in an elimination game. And then Ole Miss and Arkansas get started at 6 o'clock. That's the scheduled start time. That game also on ESPN. 662-259-0991. There's a number here. Hey, who do we have?
This is Big G again. I know you don't do double callers a lot, but I have a comment to make about Luke, the bald-headed guy I was asking about shaving earlier.
Okay.
Here's my issue with that. He's one of my friends. When I told you I had 6 people I was watching the game with, and they said we were full of shit because we didn't keep rooting for the team. Here's my issue. Man, these people are like, I'm a fan, and they're kind of peripheral fans. And they're like, but we stuck with them all year. But they don't watch literally every game, every pitch. And so the people who literally are every game, every pitch get burned out when it becomes reality that stuff might be like, hey, this is falling apart now, right? Like you guys said, you had some stuff written already for Bianco. That gets me.
Sure.
I know that's kind of like people shooting at their own fans type thing, but that irks me when people are like, yeah, but I was faithful. Like, but you were like idiotically faithful. Does that make sense? As a Cubs fan, look, I'm a Rockies fan, so Lord knows I don't just pull for ringers. And so, but as a Cubs fan, you have these people like, I'm a Cubs fan, and they couldn't name you a starting pitcher for 4 out of 5 years. And then they want to claim the here we go when you win a World Series. Doesn't that piss you off?
Yeah.
And I'm drunker than I was last time I called.
I mean, to a degree.
I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay. To a degree, it does. But Charles, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, it's 11:13. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably getting back to a hotel. I hate to do that to him. Hey, who do we have? Plus, Chase would be awfully sober compared to the. What channel is Encore on DirecTV? Does anyone know? That's like one of my favorite movies. I could watch that movie. Yeah, that number right there, that's not good. 662-259-0991 is the number. Take your calls for a little bit longer. Right now, there's For Love of the Game is being talked about in the stream. I think I've watched For Love of the Game 30 times, maybe. Enough to where I have most of the dialogue memorized, which is embarrassing to admit. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Alex.
Hey, Alex, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to know what y'all thought my boy Steve is doing tonight. Steve R.
Oh. He's probably not very happy. He's trying to convince himself that the transfer portal is a disaster for recruiting. And and he's probably a little worried about where things are headed in Omaha, is my guess. I doubt if this is a particularly happy night for Steve. What do you think? Oh, I lost you. Thanks for the call, Alex. Yeah, Steve's not a happy person. Hey, who do we have?
This is Tyler.
Hey, Tyler, what's up?
Man, just getting nervous from Monday already.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, look, two really good teams, two really hot teams are going to play, and they're not both going to win, so I get it. I mean, if anybody tells you that Monday's a guarantee for either one of those two teams, they're kidding themselves. I mean, that's got a chance to be a heavyweight fight.
Right. I mean, would you say this is probably the biggest game in Ole Miss baseball history?
I'm not enough of a historian to say that. I mean, look, didn't they basically play in a regional final in 2014 against Virginia? Or if they had won, they would have turned around and played them again. I mean, that was big. No, I don't know. I don't know enough about the history of the program to go there, but it's awfully big, sure. I mean, look, whoever wins it, no one's getting a trophy on Monday night. I mean, they'll still have work to do, and whoever loses it's not getting sent home. I mean, whoever loses that game on Monday night still has an opportunity to work their way through the bracket, and I think both Ole Miss and Arkansas, and frankly Stanford, are all good enough to work their way through a loser's bracket. It would just be really hard.
No, I agree. Especially with the bullpens. I think Arkansas's bullpen is the same as ours.
Yeah.
But it just feels like if you win that game Monday, I mean, you got all the momentum going into that, third game.
Oh, you're in the damn driver's seat if you win on Monday night. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, you are in the driver's seat. You get to sit back and not play until Wednesday, and whoever loses on Monday has to play on Tuesday, then turn around and play on Wednesday, and then if you win, turn around and play on Thursday. That's a lot. And so, all the pitching advantages go out the window at that point. So whoever wins, yeah, look, I mean, if we talked about this with Ole Miss, if you're Ole Miss and you win, you can gamble a little on Wednesday and you can hold DeLucia for Thursday. If you're Arkansas, you can gamble a little on Wednesday and hold Nolan for Thursday and have a distinct advantage over whoever you end up playing. So yeah, it's a huge game. There's no way around that. I mean, whoever wins that game has a marked advantage in terms of getting to the final series.
Right. And I actually missed the first part of the show, taking my kids back to their moms. But I missed Chase. Did he mention at all who he feels between Ole Miss and Arkansas?
Yeah, he kind of feels the same way I do, which is that having Elliott as an established starter is an advantage for Ole Miss that Arkansas probably doesn't have an answer for. Arkansas has shaken up their rotation over the course of the year. For most of the season, they went Noland, Smith, and Wiggins Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever. And very late in the year, they went to Will McIntyre as their number 2 starter. And they actually started flirting with using Smith out of the bullpen. And he's been really effective in the tournament out of the bullpen. And I suspect that's the route they'll go against Ole Miss. They'll throw McIntyre, who I don't think threw against Ole Miss in Fayetteville back in April. And he's been good, but he's not been Elliott good. So I think the fact that you have in Elliott a guy who can go dominate a game is proven that. That's an advantage. Now, Elliott's pitched against Ole Miss before, so Ole Miss has seen him. He's seen Arkansas. But look, here's the truth. Those two teams played in April, and that was almost 2 months ago. They're both completely different teams right now because they're both playing with a different level of confidence right now that neither one of them had 2.5 weeks ago. I mean, it's got a chance to be a hell of a baseball game.
And this actually may be a Chase question, but, I mean, Elliott shut Miami down. I think they had that one home run.
Yeah.
And I think we've been 2-1. In my opinion, what I've seen of Miami and Arkansas, they kind of resemble the same kind of offense. Like high scoring, can hit the ball, can hit, in the gaps. And Elliott just shut them down completely. So, yeah, man, I guess as an Ole Miss fan, you got to feel good about the game.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. You wanted to be in the winner's bracket with a pretty dominant left-hander on the mound in a big game, and that's where you are. What Arkansas does a little differently than Miami, I think, is I think Arkansas is a better offensive team right now than Miami was because Arkansas is getting production 1 through 8 in their lineup, and they're having a lot of really good at-bats. But look, if Elliott's super sharp like he was against Southern Miss, I mean, good pitching beats good hitting every time. If he's not sharp against that offense, you can get into trouble because their approach at the plate right now is really good. But so is Ole Miss's. I mean, look, McIntyre's going to have his hands full with that Ole Miss lineup. Again, it's going to be a really fun game. I feel like it's a broken record at this point. Both teams are super hot. Both teams are playing really well. Both teams are playing with a ton of confidence. It ought to be a hell of a baseball game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we win that game, you're going to have a lot more fun calls, you know what I'm saying, after that game.
I would strongly suspect that you're right.
All right, man, I appreciate what y'all do, and have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Michael. So two-parter. One, I'm having a pool day tomorrow as well. I'm doing some baby back ribs, so that should be fun. Second, with the season Tennessee had and kind of the way they conducted themselves, do you see that hanging over their head in the future, like next season and years, to come?
I don't know. I'm curious to see how they respond next year because I think what they're going to do is double down and be even more that way. Look, they're really talented too. I mean, I don't know if what got them was karma or they got in their own heads or if they just ran into a super hot Notre Dame team. I mean, in the next 9-10 days, we might be talking a lot about Notre Dame. So it's possible that they just ran into a really hot, good team that played well and beat them in a close game 3 that got out of hand late. And that's certainly conceivable. I don't think that's the way to play the game, the way they play. I think they went over the line. I think they went over the top, but I'm not 100%. As much as we all want to say that's why they lost, I'm not 100% sure that's why they lost, if that makes any sense.
No, I understand what you're saying. I don't think it's necessarily why they lost, like the number one reason. I do think it's somewhere down the line, though. Maybe it's the third or fourth reason. I do think it played into it a little bit, and there's this part of me that thinks that it may be something that can kind of hang over their head for a little while, and, man, would that not make me happy?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, when you have a team that's as good as they were, that was a national championship caliber team, and you don't get it, it hangs over you a little bit. Sure, I mean, that can haunt you for a while when you have a special season like the one they had. They went 25-5 in the SEC, 25-5.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's wild, man. That's Vanderbilt.
It shows you how hard it is, though, to win. It shows you how hard it is to win a championship, how hard it is just to get to Omaha, how hard it is just to get to that place because you can lose the 3-game series. You lose 1 3-game series, and they lost a couple. Remember, they lost to Kentucky. They lost some games. I mean, you can lose a baseball game. It's a weird sport.
Yeah, it's tough. It's 3-game series in college, and 7-game series in the majors. And I mean, even then, the best team doesn't usually win the World Series, and we see it all the time. I mean, how many Cardinals teams have won the World Series where they were no one thought they were the best team?
Who?
Yeah, right.
Never heard of that.
I mean, we've seen a bunch of Ole Miss teams like that. I mean, I think we've seen at least 2 Ole Miss teams who I think were probably the best team in the country, if not the second best team in the country, who just didn't get there, and lost in supers. Like, it happens.
Sure.
But
I mean, Arkansas last season, Tennessee this season. I mean, teams that were number 1 for most of the season and didn't get there. It's hard.
Yeah, it's kind of what makes baseball special, though, isn't it? Is that the best team doesn't usually win.
Yes,
I mean, how many times did we look up in the MLB and the best team all season actually grabs the championship? It's not that often.
Yeah. No, it's the hottest team. The Braves were the hottest team.
Yeah, they weren't the best team last year. They were just freaking red hot. That was fun.
They got the trophy, though.
They did get the trophy. That's all that counts.
At the end of the day, that's what matters.
Absolutely. I am just, man, I cannot stand that team. Like, I heard Jeffrey talk for years on the podcast about Tennessee fans and how just, wait for them to get good. They'll become obnoxious, and whatnot. And, oh man, he hit the nail on the head with that. My God, that fan base and that team, and they're awful.
Yeah, they're different for sure.
Sure. What do you think about Vitello? Do you think he can land at another program right now? I mean, like, I don't think he's going to be hired away this season or necessarily next season, but do you think an AD and good consciousness can touch him at the moment? Because he seems like he's someone that's just waiting to pop where something big happens and he gets canned, and it's not because on-field performance.
I think you would have to ask questions if you were hiring him. Now, look, the flip side is that the job that he's done rebuilding a program is remarkable. So, I mean, but yeah, you'd have to ask questions, right? I mean, you'd have to know. You'd have to wonder what it was all about, I guess is what I'm saying. You'd have to wonder, hey, is this just an act because you think that's the only way you can win at Tennessee, or is this who you are? Because if it's who he is, I'm with you. It almost feels like he's going to snap. The flip side of that is that he's a really good coach who obviously is very good at building a program.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal coach. I don't think anyone doubts that. But like you said, I mean, and that's my question. It's been my question. Is it a gimmick for Tennessee, or is it who Vitello is? And part of me wonders, even if it was a gimmick at first, has he not morphed into this? At some point you become the gimmick, right?
Yeah, you can become the gimmick. You can. I mean, if he thinks that's the way to win, that's a hard thing to pull off year after year after year, where you're everybody's. I don't think it works long term. I think at the end of the day, I mean, look at the teams from the SEC that are in the tournament. It's 4 teams that kind of play the game the right way.
Yeah, 4 teams that play with an edge, but are still very, I don't know, gentlemanly about it. That's not a word, but okay, yeah, we'll run with it. Like, they play with an edge, they play tough, but they're not assholes at the same time.
Right. Anything else?
No, man, that's it. I appreciate you taking the call.
Yeah, thank you for the call. Tuttle's the one that he talks to because he hates Tuttle for being in the commercial. He hated the commercial that Tuttle was in. Is that right? I think that's correct. Hey, who do we have?
Talbot Buys in Vicksburg. What's going on?
Tell me the name again.
Talbot Buys.
Hey, Talbot. How are you, man?
Good, man. Heading back. Been in Natchez. Is at a wedding for one of my wife's friends. So you're keeping me awake, almost back to town. But, during the game, I was watching on my phone and, trying to look down every chance I could get. I got a big group text going on. One of our pastors at church is a big Auburn fan. So he was the outcast in a group text full of Ole Miss and other state fans. So we were giving him a pretty hard time. So we'll see how he reacts at church tomorrow. But huge for the university. Dad played baseball there back in '77 through '80. He was on the first SEC championship team at Ole Miss. And, of course, I played football there under Freeze his last 3 years. And it's just huge. I've been obviously grown up an Ole Miss fan my whole life. And just to see, how far the program's come over the years. I was at the Super Regionals when, we had the Texas heartbreak, Miami heartbreak, the Virginia heartbreak. And, it's to finally get over that hump is great. So, I wanted to go, but, we spent a week at the beach last week and, got another week coming up at the beach the end of the month. So figured I enjoy watching on TV, but what's your take, for Monday? I think Hunter was just absolutely dominant against Southern.
Yeah.
And, to be, a true freshman to come in and throw like he did, it just, it speaks volumes of, the kind of pitcher he is and will be down the road. And, I think it's going to be a great ball game.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think, much like the game tomorrow night between Notre Dame and Oklahoma, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. At this point, it's what we've kind of been saying all night. You get to this place where you've won a regional and you've won a super regional, and you're now in the winner's bracket. You're both good and hot, and you're confident. So, you're not catching anybody on a bad day or any of that stuff. It's just probably going to be a high-level baseball game. I like the pitching matchup for Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's going to be a championship-type atmosphere. It's going to be a phenomenal ball game.
It's going to be that for sure, because if today was any indication, both Ole Miss and Arkansas have a ton of people in Omaha, so it'll be – the atmosphere will be awesome. I like the matchup from Ole Miss's standpoint because of Elliott. I'm curious to see what Arkansas does. Their bullpen will be super fresh too. My guess is they go with McIntyre and they just go with him until he gets into any trouble, and then they kind of mix and match with a lot of arms that they have. So it could also be a pretty interesting game from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, both bullpens being fresh, offenses, both prolific. So I can't wait. It's going to be great. So, all right, man. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Talbot.
Let y'all go.
Thank you.
Listen every time. I'll tune in next time.
Happy Father's Day.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Bye.
You too.
662-259-0991. I didn't think we'd still be going at 11:30, but here we are. Let's see, 2 hours and 42 minutes in. There's still 275 of you guys. It's remarkable. Again, Father's Day tomorrow. Happy Father's Day to all the dads in the stream. Happy Father's Day to all of your dads. Hope you all have a great day. Hey, who's this?
Hey, Neal, it's the Biscuit from the bunker. How are you?
Hey, Biscuit, what's up?
Oh, man, great show tonight. You went from Ace of the Drunk Caller to keto to somebody drinking Dr. Pepper and Seagrams with a pit bull barking at chickens next door and talking about a NASCAR race.
We got range, man.
Well, anyway, I'm somewhere in between all of them from the drinking standpoint tonight.
What'd you have?
I was drank a few beers, and then I got into a little bit of this double oak Wolford Reserve. And,
I like that. That's a good one.
Thought you needed an Auburn guy to call in and give you guys an outside look as not a Rebel fan, even though I'm cheering for you guys after y'all get through this regional.
So you're an Auburn guy. What'd you think?
It was a great game tonight. I don't think the game was ever in doubt, right? So amazing call by your coach to keep DeLucia in late. Our only hope was to get him out of the game. You guys saved your bullpen. We came from our regional. I think we scored 51 runs, and you shut us down, and y'all shut down a really good Southern Miss team as well. So I don't know. The future looks bright, but you guys seem awful hesitant or very humble.
Well, I mean, Ole Miss this is their in Bianco's 22-year tenure. This is their second trip to Omaha. They finished third in the country in 2014, and I think it's understandable. There's no reason to be like uber cocky about it at this point. I mean, and I've been saying this all night. I mean, if all four teams in the winner's bracket have a legitimate shot to win the whole thing, so you're going to have to play really well. No one's going to play a bozo the rest of the way. So, but I love Ole Miss. I love Ole Miss's chances in this tournament at this point because I like the matchup on Monday night for them with Elliott going, and then that buys you some flexibility if you win on Monday. Like I've been saying, it allows you to let DeLucia have an extra day, and if you need him on Thursday, you can pitch him on Thursday, and if you don't need him on Thursday, you can save him and pitch him in game one of a championship series. So that's the spot they're in.
Well, I mean, y'all talked about what a national championship would mean, and I mean, y'all are in the tournament for all the time for the last 20 years, and I don't know. From looking from the outside in, it sure looks like a team of destiny, and the story writes itself. And you guys were number one team in the nation to start out, and y'all are just hot as can be right now. And I don't know. It'd be great for your university, and obviously, only imagine how great it'd be for your business as well, right?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be bad for business. It's one of those things that I don't ever go there because it's completely out of my control.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
If they win, it won't be because of me, and if they lose, it won't be because of me. So I never really think about that part of it.
Yeah, I kind of, obviously I've kind of written Auburn off, and maybe we are just happy to be there at this point. I mean, I think we'd have to win 4 or 5 games in a row.
You'd have to win. Auburn would have to win on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's doable. They've won 4 games in a row before, but obviously it's a really hard road.
Yeah. We're talking, some of the callers were talking about, kind of what a national championship would mean. And I'll tell you, it's bigger than just that trophy, right? So there's a lot of bad news in the world, but man, people forget about all that, and your alumni and your youngs remember that, and it's something really special. And I don't know, looking from the outside in, I don't know if I'm becoming an Ole Miss fan or just it's really special, and it just surely feels like a team of destiny that's writing their own story right now.
Yeah, they are kind of writing what would be an incredible story. You're exactly right. Hey, Biscuit, I appreciate the call very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Bye. (662-259-0991). I'll take the calls as long as they come in. Hit that like button if you would, please. If you haven't hit it already, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5,000. We're really close. Hey, who do we have?
John Wilder.
I'm sorry, say it again.
John Wilder.
Hey, John, what's up, man?
Not much. I was just I had a question to ask you.
Okay, go for it.
How much longer do you think DeLucia will stick around?
Ooh, I don't know. He's draft eligible. There were a lot of scouts watching tonight. I'm sure they liked what they saw. He's probably got a really big decision to make because he's one of those guys who could come back next season and really elevate his stock. I don't know. That's probably a better question for Chase, and I'll ask him that on Monday morning.
All right.
All right, John. Thanks, bud.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
That was John. Again, 662-259-0991 is the number. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, it's Matt in Little Rock.
Hey, Matt. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. Appreciate you staying on late and doing this tonight. And appreciate the podcast as always.
Thank you.
Razorback fan, but check you guys out all the time because I just really appreciate the full spectrum of SEC coverage y'all give and the perspective. If you think it's crap, something's crap at Ole Miss, you'll say it. And
so let me ask you: you're an Arkansas fan. I'm curious what did, in your opinion, turn their season around, because they did not finish the season well at all.
I think their arms got tired. I think it's a couple of things. The arms got tired, and I just think the team got a little worn out. And it's baseball. I think losing Paulette hurt with the starting rotation. You had Hagen Smith was tired. Jackson Wiggins, he's got a great fastball, but there's no movement to it, and teams started figuring that out. And then when Nolan got tired near the end of the season, I think it really hurt, and we started giving up a lot of 4, 5, 6 run innings and playing from behind a lot. And I don't care who you are, as a baseball team, that's tough, starting games that way. I think, the blessing in disguise was getting out of Hoover as quick as we could and getting back and getting some rest. But so I really think that's what had a lot to do with it. But then a couple of things that's turned it around. Taking Hagen Smith and putting him in the bullpen has been huge. He's a kid that can throw 92, 93, but when you're only asking to throw 2 or 3 innings, he can run it up there 97, 98 because he knows he's a spot duty. And Will McIntyre, you mentioned him, great midweek starter, but you said he's, starting near the end of the year. I'll tell you how near the end of the year it was. His first start of any significance on the weekend was against North Carolina in game 2 over there. And they changed their mind 2 or 3 times before they started him. So the pitching matchup, I think you're dead on. I would favor the starting matchup to Ole Miss because McIntyre just doesn't. He's a junior. He's been around a while, but he doesn't have the experience starting games that Elliott has gotten here down the stretch. Couple of points, and then I've got a question for you. Something for Ole Miss fans to look at. I think Robert Moore. I think that's a big reason we kind of scuffled offensively 11th in the league this year. He's really underachieved at the plate this year, but in Stillwater he had a good regional, and then at North Carolina he's played well, and today was lights out. When he's hitting in that 5 and 6 hole, we're a different offense, and we've really missed that this year. So he's a big deal. Evan Taylor is a nasty pitcher out of the pen, can eat up 2 or 3 innings. You've got Hagen Smith in the pen now, can eat up 2 or 3 innings, and then you've got Brady Tigert, who's just got filthy stuff as a freshman. So we may have to piece it together where I know Ole Miss is hoping Elliott can go 5, 6, 7. And so the pitching effort may look a little different, but Arkansas could be potentially as effective.
I was saying that earlier in the show. The strategy on Monday is also really interesting because Arkansas has all those arms that they could sort of do a Johnny Holstaff thing, and if you win, it pays off. If you don't win, it's a nightmare because you used a bunch of arms you got to turn around and play the next day.
I was going to say, I mean, the loss, if Arkansas loses the game, it puts us in a much tougher position than I would say it would put Ole Miss if you only ran through 2 or 3 arms. We basically burned through our best pitchers in our bullpen if we lose that game, and now you're sitting, where you're sitting, and it's very tough. So it's just a ridiculous scenario that Ole Miss and Arkansas are in this position. A month ago, people would have looked at you crazy if you said that.
Yeah, no one would have believed it. Yeah.
Say again.
I said no one would have believed it. Watching.
No.
Yeah. No,
absolutely not. I have not had a chance to watch Elliott. I watch a lot of baseball, but I've been on vacation and doing different things, and just have not had a chance to watch him. Give me a scouting report if he's on. What does he like to do? Is he a strikeout guy? Does he control the both sides of the plate? I mean, give me a scouting report on him. And again, man, I appreciate you and the show.
Thanks. Yeah, he pounds the strike zone. He can work inside. He can work out. He here lately can work up and down. He changes speeds. He's not afraid to pitch backwards. his big thing is he's just a super competitive kid. The moment's never too big for him. He competes. He doesn't give in if he's down 2-0. If he's down 3-0, he doesn't throw that get over fastball. He just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He throws hard. He's got good off speed stuff. He's just. But what really sticks out about him is just his toughness on the mound. He doesn't look like I mean, he's kind of got that baby face, and he doesn't look like he'd be that. He's got sort of a surfer haircut a little bit, and you wouldn't expect that bulldog that you get, but that's kind of who he is. I mean, he and I think his teammates know it, and I think they enjoy playing behind him.
The only chance I think we have is to get his pitch count up. Because crafty lefties like that just give us fits. We have a lot of left-handed batters in the lineup, and it gives us fits at times. So, I mean, he's got potential if he's on his game to shut us down for a while. And the way Ole Miss is swinging the bat, and with our kind of unsteadiness there, it's a call for concern. I think the best chance Ole Miss has to win the game is to try to get a 2 or 3 run lead in the first 2 or 3, 4 innings. If they let us hang around and it becomes a bullpen game, then I like the Razorbacks' chances. But it's an intriguing matchup and crazy bragging rights, right? I mean, this is going to be, I've already heard said maybe one of the Ole Miss's biggest games, or some of the callers. Arkansas, everybody knows about the drop fly ball, and then you go back to Omaha the next year and you're 0-2, and then best team in the country last year, similar to Tennessee, didn't lose a series all year until the very last one in the Super Regional.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ghosts there, and there's Ole Miss may be a team of destiny. That's what a lot of Razorback fans are saying. Well, finally, maybe it's a team we didn't expect that it may show up and surprise us. So maybe we're a team of destiny. So it's got a lot of momentum headed straight for each other. So it's going to be wild for sure.
Yeah, it's a super intriguing matchup. Appreciate the call very much.
Hey, bud. Thanks, Neal.
It's a good call from Matt. 662-259-0991 is the number. Big G, thanks for the super chat. Can a school be a power baseball and basketball school? Sure. It feels like a place like Ole Miss must choose. I couldn't disagree more. I think you can win big in everything. I don't think one sport takes away from another. In fact, I think one sport can enhance another. Look around the league. Tennessee's winning big in basketball. Auburn's winning big in basketball. Arkansas's winning big in basketball. I think you can do both. I don't think that's an issue at all. 662-259-0991 as we approach midnight here on this. Again, we'll have the Oxford Exxon podcast on Monday. Chase has content at rebelgrove.com. He'll have more tomorrow. He said he was going to practice. Ole Miss practicing tomorrow morning at Creighton there in Omaha. Speaking of basketball schools, Creighton in some people's preseason top 5 in basketball for next season. They practice at Creighton tomorrow. The game is Monday at 6. The Ole Miss Arkansas game will be on ESPN 6 o'clock. They play after Auburn and Stanford. They get together at 1 o'clock on Monday. The loser of that game is eliminated from the tournament. The winner of that game will face the loser of Ole Miss Arkansas on Tuesday. I don't know a time yet. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but we'll get to that when the time comes. We'll do a Oxford Exxon podcast on Monday morning, and then we'll do another one of these shows on Monday night, brought to you by the College Corner, collegecornerstore.com. Chase's coverage brought to you by the Clearwater Group, also by Corinth Dental. I forgot to say earlier, guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Next time you're in Oxford, stop at Rafters on the square. Great burgers, po' boys, appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, and more. Rafters on the square in Oxford, also Rafters in New Albany, and Rafters on the water at Sardis Lake. I'm in the Clark Ford Studios. I forgot to tell you that at the beginning as well. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for my friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900 for Clark Ford. I think we'll probably wrap there. I think that's probably enough. We've gotten a bunch of calls. It's getting late. Again, Ole Miss beats Auburn 5-1. Coverage at rebelgrove.com. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Have a great day tomorrow. Be safe, and we will visit with you again on Monday morning, and then we'll have another MPW Digital Postgame Show on Monday night. So until then, take care. Good night.